24 to 7-9, 51.
As the hit song goes, what the world needs now is a healthy dose of Spicks and Specs. That's right, Australia, we're back and we're ready to party with a shiny new series of the show that's never too old to rock and roll. We'll have a bunch of new games and a feast of classic favourites, plus a truckload of live music. Join me and team captains Alan, Ace of Spades Bro and Miff Can't Stop the Music Warhurst, as well as a solid gold hit parade of very special guests.
Spicks and Specs is back. Stream now on ABC iView.
See you then, Australia.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The two combatants from the 2019 Grand Final, it's Richmond and GWS as Saturday night footy rolls on in round 9 of the AFL Premiership season. This is Grandstand AFL, Corbin Middlemass alongside Tony Armstrong, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio and Jess Webster, your call team tonight. Both teams out on the ground conducting their preliminary warm-up. And boy, have they changed a bit since the last day, or the last Saturday in September back in 2019. The Tigers winners by 89 points. The Giants with their lowest score in club history. They have just 9 of the 22 remaining, the Giants, from the side that was well beaten on Grand Final day. While Richmond front up with 14 of their premiership team from 2019. There's no Bolton, no Cochin, Edwards, Lambert, Prestia, all missing. So not just their first choice midfield out, but batting pretty deep, the Tigers tonight. We've got a couple of new faces. Hugo Ralphsmith's going to make his debut. He becomes the 31st man to play for Richmond this year, picked 46 in the 2019 draft, while Kieran Briggs, one of their 10 academy prospects on their list, big ruckman, third year on the list, is going to partner Matt Flynn in the ruck tonight. Tony Armstrong's alongside me as always on a Saturday night. Evening, Tone.
G'day, Corbs. G'day, everyone. Looking forward to this one. Beware the wounded tiger, I reckon. Pretty big week for them off the field. Not playing the kind of footy that we've come to know, love, appreciate. A lot of media, I guess, scrutiny. I think this is the kind of game that they'll be absolutely up for. They'll be ready to go. Very interested to watch the first 5 minutes just to see what kind of Tigers side we get, given GWS ticking along pretty nicely.
Damien Hardwick spoke during the week. He said we've been able to spruik about our depth. We get a chance to actually see it come on and perform tonight. He also said that the Orange Tsunami is back, that the Giants have been able to rediscover their handball game in the last 4 weeks. They're up to number 4 in the competition for metres gained by hand. I mentioned no Bolton, who misses tonight. He was obviously involved in a fracas at a nightclub last Saturday night, so a week of controversy for the Tigers. Both teams 4-4 on the season. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. Beach, coming into a game on the back of an incident like that at the start of the week, what sort of effect does it have, if any, on a playing group?
Oh, well, I think that if there's any club that would deal with it well, it'll be Richmond. So based on the experience, and they're not their experience with having somewhat of a controversy around their footy club in recent times. So, I'm looking forward to this one. I think I agree with Tone that I think at some point Richmond, they will find their mojo and just consistently anyway. We haven't really seen it this year, have we? As you just made mention, they're 50-50 win to loss. They're 4-4. And I think tonight, because of the week, Damien Hardwick, you just mentioned that they're speaking about their depth and a good opportunity for a number of guys to come in. But I'm also expecting a bit of a lull from GWS, which we've seen, which has been consistent through this year. Had a good couple of weeks. Obviously got over the line last week against Essendon, but travelling here to Melbourne against a team that's surrounded by controversy and a bit of backs to the wall and high expectations for everyone. I'm expecting a solid win from Richmond tonight.
If you think of the Giants and the Tigers, you think of this man, Brett Delidio, of course, who's represented both
Delidio
clubs.
Cup.
Yeah, they win a baby moo-moo if they win today.
That's a car for those playing tonight.
Yeah.
What are we in for tonight, Lids?
Exactly what Beach said. It'd be interesting to see what Richmond, what they bring tonight, but also the Giants have been a lot more blue-collar of late. They haven't been relying on their absolute stars. They've got down and dirty, led by probably their back six, I think. And it'd be interesting to see who goes with Dustin. We've seen the last couple of weeks in Tom Stewart and Hibbert from Melbourne do a pretty good job on him and limit his ability to really impact the scoreboard. So it'd be interesting to see whether the Giants have got someone lined up. Connor Idem is probably the one I'd earmark, but looks like he potentially starting on the bench, which he is. Aidan Core was always the man who'd get him when he went forward when I was there, but he's no longer there. So it'd be interesting to see who plays on him.
Well, there's two big matchups for tonight, isn't it? Who plays on Dustin and who plays on Green?
Yes.
And Green's a man for mine that Richmond, I just arguably put your best defender on him. So at the minute it's probably Bolter. But you've still got Grimes and arguably Broad as well. So he's going to win the game if they're going to win it.
5 changes for the Giants from the team that beat Essendon. So Hogan's back, Briggs, Flynn, Riccardi and Buntine, the 5 ins. While for Richmond, Rolf Smith and Grimes come in for Edwards and Bolton. Saturday night footy, the Tigers and the Giants. You with Tony Armstrong.
I'll call it a 0-0 draw out of the ruck at ground level. The Giants try to kick forward, but Hooley takes the intercept mark immediately, gives the hands to Grimes. Defensive handball against the short, and they sweep it out wide to Dusty. Good to get it in his hands early. He kicks forward, looking for his teammate in Lynch. It gets over the back. He picks it up on the gather, but he's immediately wrapped up by Cumming. Well, the ball up, left half forward.
Jess Webster on the boundary. Evening, Jess.
G'day, Corby. I think we might have to check the MCG for any confused Tigers fans because the crowd is not really at the level that we expect for a big Tigers home ground. Hopefully it builds because this will be a great battle tonight.
Tigers kicking to the Lockett end, to the Coventry end, go GWS.
Nankervis grabs it out of the ruck, kicks it into the pocket. The Giants keep it alive. Slick hand pass from Taylor deep in defence. Got its way to Taranto. Hooks a kick down the line, and Grimes and Toby Green both got a touch on it over the boundary line. It goes. So a throw in here, left half forward for the Tigers. 70 out from their attacking goal at the Lockett end. No late change. The other game tonight is Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. We'll keep you updated throughout the night.
Ruck contest, Nankervis taps it down. First man on the scene is Taranto. Now Hopper has the ball and he's streaming through the middle of the Docklands. Has a bounce, runs his full measure, gives the handball into the path of Bobby Hill, taps it. One bounce, has a kick on goal, fires. Just slightly hooked it. First score goes to the Giants though. It's a minor one. They lead by a point. 1 behind to the Giants. Plays the Tigers yet to score. Minute and a half gone here at the Docklands.
There's that long-standing agreement, of course, the AFL taking ownership of the stadium. There has to be so many games here each year, but the Tigers a little unhappy during the week, obviously, with the MCG not used all weekend, just the one game there, and forced to play a home game here tonight against the Giants. Tigers, a lot of handballs coming out of the defensive 50. Vlosten gives it out wide to Asprey, slips through his hands. And out of play, boundary throw-in, half forward for the Giants.
As we can already see that the Tigers are really trying to energise that footy and get it moving by hand quite a few times now, taking marks and just look to move it quickly.
Full time in the Q Clash, Lions by 73 over the Suns. From the boundary throw-in, Nankervis palms it down. Ward, hand pass wanted. Taranto inadvertently soccers it out of play, so a boundary throw-in, still 70 out from the Giants goal.
In between wing and half forward, broadcast side of the ground. Fascinating match tonight. Ball's hurled in. Nankervis just kind of got rid of his opponent, and then the ball just bounced through the back. Leaving it behind was Graham. Now having a crack Sash. He's immediately wrapped up by Nank the Tank, so I'll have another ball up. Almost on the point of the square. Up it goes. Flynn v Nankervis. The ball actually eventually bounced. Ash gathered it. Gives it inboard to Whitfield. He was clean, but then wrapped up immediately. It's a hot footy. Quick kick comes out of there from Hopper, but only as far as McIntosh, who takes the mark at left half back for the Tigers. He goes ever so short. His teammate's not looking in Collier Dawkins. It looks like it's going to be a turnover. It is. Hopper, he misses the handball to Green of the Toby variety. Buttering up there is McIntosh, but now the Giants through Green, flying shot on goal, bouncing, minus score. The pressure's good from the Giants early, but another minus score. 2 behinds leads the Tigers 0. 3.5 minutes gone.
Short plays on from the kick out to Vlosten at half-back, moves it quick, long kick to Rewalt, 2 back in the pack, can't mark. Cumming brings it down, falls to Kelly, hand pass back to Cumming, hooks the kick inside 50 hurriedly, Hogan out to meet it. Gets there on the bounce, 50 out, half forward, kicks across the half forward line. Whitfield marks, front edge of the centre square, and he's going to go back. Whitfield now for standing start, pokes the pass to Kel Ward. Leaping up, marks at full stretch, centre half forward. He'll have to kick it all of 50.
GWS are doing a really good job of keeping the ball in their forward half, which I haven't seen consistently this year, their forward pressure, and they haven't been known for it over a number of years, Lids, but they're doing a really good job. And you made mention Richmond trying to get energy into the ball is really noticeable, so it's giving the third, fourth opportunities for GWS to apply that pressure.
Now the game's record holder, Callum Ward, taking over from Jeremy Cameron. He shoots from 50 metres out. It's a superb kick. Giants off to a hot start. Callum Ward kicks the first of the night, 5 minutes in. GWS 1-2-8. Richmond flat-footed, yet to score. Grandstand AFL, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, you're right, Beach. That is, it's probably been something they've really focused on over the last few, certainly this year, but since the early parts of the season, getting that energy in and around the footy in that forward half. You know, the likes of Bobby Hill down there, Zabo Halloran, another one who's just chased, tackle, pressure, been really, really good. And that's what's basically been the cornerstone of what they've backed their game on. It hasn't been about their class and the outside run and this orange tsunami that we've been known for. It's more about the want and tackle, chase, pressure, just to put pressure on the footy and cause turnovers.
Ward on Martin in the middle of the ground. Like that matchup. It's the Giants by 8 points, early stages of the first term. Up they go, Nankervis wins the tap. Here's Ward. Jeez, he's accosted by two Tigers players as he gathered the ball, dumped to the ground. Well, the secondary ball up. Still inside the circle, up it goes. Nankervis wins the tap, straight down. Here's Collier Dawkins, his handball was errant. Now Dustin Martin takes on a few tacklers. Collier Dawkins just tapped it forward, but to no one in particular. Perryman just tapped it forward, got it to Whitfield, and then the sweeping handball out wide. Found Riccardi. He goes short to Hogan, unchecked at left half forward for the Giants. About 65 metres out from goal. This way, that way, and then a short kick is brilliant. Finds Taranto just bobbing up in space. He's 5 metres in from the boundary, 45 out, left forward pocket.
It's the second time now they've found that short little 30-metre kick inside 50. It's a bit concerning because there's a number of guys around that footy, so early stages of the game and the concentration levels.
They're a bit flat.
From an experienced Richmond team. Well, they haven't really touched the ball, have they? Or they haven't got past halfway, so GWS dominating the first 5 minutes of this game.
In comes Taranto, fires on goal. It's not going to trouble the scorers. It goes to the top of the square, and then Curvis, he had first look. Left it behind, though. Himmelberg at ground level. We're hard up against the boundary. Vlossen has a crack, gives the handball there to Hooley. His kick forward only goes as far as Perryman takes it on the juggle. So he's taken the mark 49 out, right next to where the 50-metre mark logo is. Right half forward. Has he got the journey, Liz?
It'll take his best. He's one of Leon's absolute favourites, this bloke. Everyone thinks it's his son. If you watch him how he runs after he kicks this, dead ringer.
In he comes, fires on goal. Doesn't really have a shot, goes to the top of the square. Big fly there came from Briggs. He left it behind. We're at ground level, just at the top of the square. They're all cracking in. It's a hot footy. It's a hot footy. 3 or 4 players on top of the ball. And we'll have a ball up 15 around from the GWS goal. They've done all the attacking so far. They lead by 8 points.
Daniel Lloyd, the tackler there, forces the ball up. Briggs on debut, tries to grab it out of the ruck, unsuccessful. Grimes chucks it on the boot, high up and under, and marked by Kelly. Sitting underneath it, 30 metres out from his attacking goal, and Josh Kelly can have a ping here to give the Giants the first couple.
They're setting up well behind the footy, Beach, aren't they? They're putting that pressure on initially, but they're just putting the Richmond mids and defenders under a lot of pressure. And Josh Kelly's been averaging nearly a goal a week for the last few as he's been spending more time forward.
In he comes, Josh Kelly with that neat left boot. He kicks it across the face. Misses. It's all GWS for the first 8 minutes. They're 1-3. Richmond yet to score. Saturday night footy on Grandstand AFL. We're still 10 minutes or so away from the start between the Dogs and the Power.
Short plays on, runs his full measure, then kicks it long, looking for Marlion Pickett. He can't take the mark. He tries to butter up at ground level. Green gets the forward handball to Hogan. His handball's picked off, though, by McIntosh. And now the Tigers are away across half-back. Graham, sweeping kick. It's going to be a downfield. The kick across the ground went to Dustin Martin. They switched the play to the City side. But the free kick was for down the field. Graham dealt with after he got rid of it. So Martin, true centre wing, plays on, has a bounce and drives it long to right half forward. Rewalt's in the area. He jumped about a week early. No free kick given. Now at ground level, Buntine gathers it. Left foot kick back to Martin. Martin clean below his legs. Gives the hands now high up and under. We've got a contest at the top of the square. Coming back here now is Nankervis. He gathers it on the bounce. Right foot kick. Oh, it goes across the goal. Whew. Close stuff there for the Tigers. We'll have a throw in deep in their attack against the left behind post. They trail by 9 points, 10 minutes gone.
Barely seen it in their front half, Richmond. No late change, Jack Ross and Tanner Bruin, the two subs. From the throw-in, Nankervis palms it down. Taranto had it, lost it in the tackle. Rioli, top of the goal square, paddles it out in front of him, shakes Ash, collects the footy. Rioli for Richmond, hands it to Ralph Smith, chucks it on the boot, kicks into the pocket. Unkind bounce for Riewoldt. Spins out of play in a throw-in forward pocket for the Tigers. Played here a heap in recent times. Obviously, we haven't had a lot of footy in Melbourne across the last 2 seasons, but round 3 last year, last time we saw the Giants under the roof at Docklands, that was a 4-goal loss to the Western Bulldogs. From the boundary throw-in, we'll have another ball up 20 metres out from the Richmond goal. Roof on, modest crowd. Umpire Hosking chucks it up in the air. Both the rucks tangle. A free kick Richmond's way. And Briggs is hanging on to Nankervis. And Big Nank will have a chance to answer back for the Tigers right in front, 25 out.
Well, they're about to get a gift, I think. We haven't seen the free kick, but even behind the ball, Richmond had a +2 behind the ball. So even if GWS are going to win that, they're obviously concerned with their forward 50 stoppages.
So from the ruck infringement, Nankervis gets the Tigers in business. They kick their first of the night. Richmond 1 straight. GWS 1-3-9. 3-point lead for the Giants. 11 minutes in. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, so maybe it's just a sign that GWS are trying to get more numbers inside Richmond's forward 50 when they do have stoppages, because naturally the ruckman drops behind the ball and the forward then takes the ruck, which gets a +1, but they also had a defender. So, yeah, a bit of a gift there, really, but it was the first opportunity Richmond actually went forward and then were able to lock it inside their 50 and have multiple stoppages and build some kind of pressure and get the momentum back off GWS.
3 points the margin here at the Docklands. GWS with 4 scoring shots early. Bit wasteful in front of goal. Briggs v Bolter. Bounce is good. Bolter wins the tap, looking for Dusty. He gathers it on the bounce, gives to Pickett. Right foot hurry kick, goes to left half forward. Arts gets pushed out from underneath it. Tries to butter up. Here's Graham, though, swoops. Gives the handball inside to Baker. Left foot kick inside, looking for Rioli. Good defensive fist, but here comes Pickett. Busts through a few tacklers, but left the ball behind. Good defensive work here by the Giants. Lloyd gets it out of defence, but only as far as Baker. It's coming again.
So Baker virtually on halfway, city wing, looks laterally. Thought about it a couple of times and in the end goes long with a contest kick to the hot spot. Riewoldt down there, Briggs back in back, can't mark, racing after it. Arts sockers it off the deck and through for a major. Jake Arts, clever thinking, didn't pick it up, just hacked it off the deck, 20 metres goalward and through it goes. Richmond hit the front despite the lion's share of the play being at the other end of the ground. The Tigers are 2 straight 12, GWS 1-3-9. 13 minutes in on Grandstand AFL. The Tigers by 3. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Well, I think I can almost guarantee what's been said in the Giants box. They'll be ruining the fact that he hasn't got his key forwards inside a kick away for that quick entry or quick exit out of their defensive 50. Marked by Baker, one of the smallest blokes on the field.
But they're all mids, right? So where are their direct opponents? They're all bees to a honeypot, weren't they?
Yeah, back here, but there's no forward was there to create a contest as it comes out. And then they had 4 backs flying for it, and Arts is left on the ground, and great finish. But could he have more pressure on him? Who knows?
Giants with the first. Richmond fire back with the next 2. Flynn wins the tap. Straight down to Taranto. He just gave it straight to Dusty. He was immediately tackled at that ground level. Taranto butters up, gives to Tom Green. Defensive handballs, good, finds Cumming. He's good enough to get it to Perryman, and then he just drops it out wide, finds Lloyd. City side wing, true centre wing, or just backward of. Lloyd has the footy, Giants trail by 3. Surveys his options and eventually punches it long. Big fly comes from Flynn. He takes it on the second bite, gives the handball to Green, the Toby variety. This way, that way, then ends up going to the top of the square. A couple of players dealt with it off the ball, but now it gets over the back. Himmelberg kind of just chucked it out the back. Ends up getting it to Kelly. Kelly, 1 foot snap is good from the pocket. And the Giants bounce back. They hit the front. 2-3-15 the Giants. 2 straight 12 the Tigers. Kelly with a ripper. 14 minutes gone.
It was a similar story than the goal befall. There was about 4 Richmond guys that flew for the ball. And then there was about 4 guys that went in for a tackle, and a couple of the GWS guys just holding their width, waiting for that handball out of congestion, and Kelly was a recipient of it, and a good finish on his left tucked in that pocket.
He's done that before, hasn't he? Only a few weeks ago
He did, yeah.
against the Swannies. He knows that pocket pretty well, but the Giants will be pretty happy with how they've started here. They've had the 5 scoring shots, Richmond's 2. Just got to keep continuing to try and lock it in that front half, keep putting them under pressure.
New jumper for the Giants too, and all orange with a big charcoal G on the front.
Keen for your thoughts, Corbs?
Not for me. Not for me. I know you're a fan, Lids.
I like it.
They've got the white shorts on tonight. Richmond in their home strip, of course, in the black with the yellow sash and the black shorts. In the middle of the ground, Collier Dawkins.
Can't buy it,
up. You fan, Lid? Are you fan, Tone?
No.
Not for me either. Too much orange. One down by Briggs. Tom Green, hand pass out of congestion. Ash picks it up, back edge of the square for the Giants. Kicks in the middle of the ground. Green, that's Toby. Nice pick up. Hands it to Hopper. Tumbles a kick to centre half forward. Not a great kick, but the Richmond defence under the pump. Broad to Grimes. And by hand goes back to Asprey. Kicks out to halfback.
His kick no good. Makes Baker work for it. Iden worries it out of it. Gets the handball back to Riccardi. He's over the top one to Hills. Good on the bounce. He's got a 2-on-1 inside forward 50 if they're good enough. Great work, though, by Blossom. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even know how to describe that, so thank God that's gone out. Good defensive work from Vlosten. Toby Green just had a flying kind of air kick. It almost went through. Went out of bounds, though. Deep in the right forward pocket for the Giants. They're kicking to the Coventry end, broadcast side of the ground. Ball's thrown in. Flynn works for front spot. Taps it down. Taranto, good. Gives the handball to Tom Green. His flying shot on goal is good, and the Giants kick 2 in a row. Tom Green with a neat finish from the right forward pocket. 3-3-21 the Giants. They lead by 9 points. 2 straight 12 the Tigers. 16 and a half minutes gone.
They're just not making good decisions, are they, on the outside? Richmond not holding their width. Tom Green pushed. They are a little bit experienced, mind you. Young Baker's gone in there as the inside mid, so his experience in his body work and his positioning and stoppage isn't great. So Green just pushed him under the ball, popped out the back on him, and then who actually gave the handball off? Taranto was a really good vision. So it's just a bit of, with the intensity, obviously hyped up this week, just everyone's going in. You can throw a blanket over 3 or 4 guys there that were surrounded by the ball. Taranto doing a good job and drawing 3 or 4. And then getting his handball out, but just Green is holding his width, so we need better decisions from Tigers midfielders.
The last 4 weeks, Richmond are 13th in the competition for scores against per inside 50. Tonight, the Giants have kicked 3-3 from their first 6 entries. So 100% when they're going inside in early stages of the game, the Giants back in the middle of the ground. Umpire lets them roll. Richmond wanted a free kick for a high tackle on Collier Dawkins. They won't get it. Tom Green hands the ball back to the umpire, who tosses it up in the middle of the ground. Flynn and Nankervis. Nate grabs it out of the ruck. Quick kick to centre half forward. Rioli cops an unkind bounce. Sits for Riccardi. Hand pass for the Giants out to Iden. Kicks down the wing. Out to meet it. Hogan. It was clipped over the shoulder. Took the mark anyway by Mansell. Has it right on halfway on the wing.
Well, Hogan invites a bit of pressure on the kick. It was a good one in the end. Just a short little one. Found Flynn. So they continue working it down the broadcast side. His long kick inside 50 was a driving one to the top of the square, but Nankervis came across, took a nice intercept mark, series of handballs, found its way to Vlosten with a 1-2. He goes out wide, finds Castagna at right half back. Pretty stagnant forward of the ball. So eventually he just kicks it long to centre wing. Big fly from Lynch. The ball ends up getting out wide. Graham swooped on it and then kicked it inside 50. He's got Ralph Smith, but it gets over the back. Good defensive work from Buntine. He tries to weather the storm, but eventually he's done holding the ball. Buntine bit off just a touch more than he could chew. But eventually the tackler in Rioli is rewarded at right half forward. Bit ginger.
Yeah, he's a sore foot. Go along with his black eye that he's been sporting during the week.
Won't talk about that, mate.
Gets back to Boston. And Mark's on the wing. He's still just hopping away. Fingers crossed it's not too serious for Rioli. Half forward for the Tigers. The kick comes in the middle of the ground for Asprey. Everyone in front of him. Right on halfway. Asprey just goes long in the relock direction. Slips out the back. Lynch will get there on the bounce. Chucks it on the boot. Misses everything. Very uncharacteristic. Tom Lynch, 15 out right in front, kicking across the body. Hit the fat part of the footy and it goes out on the full.
Giants fans are stoked with that. Nice fly from Himmelberger. sort of centre wing. Eventually Grimes, though, butters up because he didn't take the mark. Gives the handball inside to Graham. Evades a couple of would-be tackles and kicks it. A laser-like one to centre-half forward and finds Castagna, who took the chest mark. That was a brilliant play there by Graham. Castagna had Hooley there. Elected not to go to him.
We can't snap this around his body, so go back.
Yeah, I was going to ask, does he have the journey?
Not sure. I don't really see him kick a drop punt.
It's a really good point, Beach. So many of the modern-day players electing to go round the body. It's tough to kick a snap from 55 out. That's what Castagna will have to do. Slow, deliberate approach. Ends up firing from about 52. He's got the legs, does he? Not quite. But a big flyer from Lynch. He was outnumbered on the line. And he just rose up and took the mark in between the behind post and the goal post, deep in the left forward pocket. This is the one where we kick around the body, Beach.
Yeah, it has to, but that's the last thing Taylor would want. He just allowed him to have a really good run and jump at it. The ball did fall short, so but just take an aggressive front position there, and you just got to be...
Around the body comes Lynch, makes no mistake this time. He had a sider, hit the belly of the ball, and he said, nah, not this time. Straight through the middle, 3 straight 18 the Tigers. The Giants are 3-3-21. 21 minutes gone, Lynch kicks his first.
That's right, one of those marks on the goal line, Beach. My coaches used to go absolutely bananas over those. One there was a ruckman. What's he doing? He was in front, and Sammy Taylor's just giving him a free run at it on the vision.
Ball watching.
Yeah, got caught ball watching, as you said, Beach. Just got to check the big fella's run and not give him any sort of jump at it, because when he does, he's got some of the biggest hands in the game. Tom Lynch gets him around that footy. They don't come out too often, but nice even game there at the moment. Only 3 points in it.
Couple of lead changes, 3-3 to 3 straight. The other game in Adelaide tonight, Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. 4 minutes in, Port have kicked the first goal. They're 1 straight, Dogs yet to score. Restart back in the middle. It'll be Briggs who gets first hands on the footy. The man on debut wins the tap. Down to Hopper. Hand pass to Owen in particular. Turns it over. Gave it to Arts. Perryman's got him. Nice tackle. Ball comes out. Baker onto it. Tried to kick. Pulled it. Dropped the footy. Hands it to Naish. He kicks eventually inside 50. Lynch crashes the pack. Spills front and centre. But Ash there for the Giants. Hands it to Iden. His hand pass too hot for Buntine. Close to the boundary line. Ash sees it out. And we'll have a boundary throw in. The Richmond forwards lock it in. So left forward pocket for the Tigers. Richmond 3 straight. GWS 3-3. Giants by those 3 points. 22 minutes into the opening term.
In comes the ball. Tap down to Hopper. He leaves it behind. Dusty's there. He can't quite find the handle. Here comes Kelly. Just tapped it to his own advantage. Ended up gathering it, giving it to Ward. Good defensive work there by Naish. Affected the smother, and the ball goes out of bounds. Left forward pocket for the Tigers. They trail by 3. Ticket into time on in the first term. Pretty even first quarter. Working for front spots, Briggs taps it down, finds Ward. Ward, just a nice high up and under kick, but it just drifts a bit wide in the end and goes out of bounds on the full in between wing and half forward. Broadcast side of the ground. 23 minutes gone. It's the Giants by 3.
Mansell, one of the fresh faces for the Tigers, brings it back in. He goes short to Hawley. Marks it high half forward at 70 metres out. Crowded forward 50. He just lays it up to the top of the goal square. Lynch down there reaching for it. Swatted away from him at the last minute. Rerolled onto it. Hand pass to Naish. Spins. Shoots over his shoulder. Kick lands top of the goal square. Mancurvis bowled over by Briggs. No whistle from the umpire. Pack forms behind him. And now free kick for a high tackle. It's going the Giants' way. And Perryman takes it in a hurry. Flares it to the back pocket. Riccardi marks left back pocket for GWS. Giants by 3. Time on opening quarter.
Geez, Briggs was a bit clumsy there, wasn't he, Corbs? Riccardi goes to left half back. Pack formed and Kelly just roved it. He kicks it forward down the line. This will be a test of deliberate. Umpire loved it. He was coming from 350 metres away with the arm cocked back ready to go.
Just hit his high for the night, I reckon. GPS, he's at 32 k's.
So free kick to the Tigers in between wing and half back. They work it through the middle. Short, then Hooley, and then Broad. Premiership defenders, of course. They sweep it across the ground. Here's Mansell, gives the hands to Short, who kept running. Now to Naish, centre wing. So from wing to wing, continuing his run here. Short, forced to kick with the left boot. They're inside 50 now. Tigers in attack, but they've turned it over. Buntine gives it to Kelly. Kelly's right foot kick to Whitfield, no good. Then Kelly just tried to kick it forward, and affecting the defensive work there was Naish, but unfortunately it came off the boot. And out of bounds on the full. GWS's ball.
Whitfield goes straight to the corridor. Briggs takes the mark, centre half back. Kieran Briggs, third year on the list, academy product, making his debut tonight. Hands it to Cumming, kicks down the wing, wanted Himmelberg, whacked away from him, spills to Ward, still with the Giants, hands it to Kelly. Not a heap up ahead, goes back to Whitfield, measures his kick, down the flank, but straight to Nankervis, takes the intercept mark. Riccardi kicked 4 goals in his second game, lives as a forward playing against the Dockers, got the Rising Star nominee that afternoon. And we're seeing him as a defender. As Nankervis into the back of Briggs, and Rewalt takes a Spetney on the wing and then kicks it straight into Buntine. Ricochets down to Baker, who hands it to Martin in the centre square.
Dusty says, get off me, guys. I'm Dustin Martin. Couple of don't argues, and then sweeps the ball to the city side of the ground, finds McIntosh. He wastes no time, kicks forward. There's been a whistle. There's a free kick down the field. It's going to go against Lynch. I didn't quite see what it was for, but it's for off the ball, and the ball's been reversed. Riccardi has it now in the middle of the ground. He turns it straight over to Baker. His short 45 kick towards the middle of the ground, sharked by Baker, who goes back to McIntosh and will go again.
McIntosh short to Vlosten. Just forward of that city wing. He chips very short. Hits up Jack Graham. Some more midfield minutes again tonight with a boatload of their key mids missing. Goes along inside 50, and Briggs takes the intercept mark, getting back for the Giants. What do you make of Riccardi, the defender, Lids?
Well, I saw him play in a VFL game back there, and he had 40 touches called. So
wow,
he knows how to find the foot. He's a naturally smart footballer, but yeah, mate, I thought he was always just pigeonholed as a forward. So good to see him cut his teeth down there in the back line.
Giants by 3 points. Time on opening term. They work it out of defence. Coming long towards Green, who's upstairs. Marks on the back of Vlosten. Turns, plays on. Kicks to an unguarded goal square. He's off target. And trickles across the face of goal and out of bounds in the forward pocket. A throw-in. A bit of work in the air from Jack Rewalt. Now Toby Green into the back of Vlosten. Boundary throw-in deep forward for the Giants.
Giants are going to extend their 3-point lead. Dying stages of the first term. In comes the ball. Briggs v Nankervis. They just wrestle and the ball hits the deck. McIntosh just spikes it forward. Whitfield, though, first man on the scene, gives the inside handball to Toby Green. He's within range. Couple of straightening steps and he fires. That's a beauty. Green with his second. First, I should say. 2 Greens have kicked goals. And the Giants extend their lead to 9 points. 4-3-27 plays 3 straight 18. 27 minutes gone in the first term.
Absolutely no surprise to me watching him just drain those sort of balls from out there. He practices it religiously after every single session. I could hear his voice through the earphones. Beej, I'm not sure whether you could. I always knew where he was. He'd always be one of the loudest screams I ever played with up there with Joel Bowden back in the old days.
Give it to me.
Just give it to me at every point.
Have you ever seen a guy be such a poor field kick?
A great sort of goal.
Yeah.
I know.
But normally it's the other way around.
Yeah, mate, he is elite in front of the sticks, but then can turn over the simplest 10-15 metre kick.
Does that come down to decision making?
Oh, a little bit. He used to butcher it though when he was a mid, and he used to find it 30 odd times a week.
Kick 5 last time these two teams met. It's his first of the night here. A 9-point lead for the Giants. Richmond with some go forward out the middle though. Graham to Dusty. Kicks inside 50 and dropping back Perryman. Takes the intercept mark. Centre half back for the G-men. Goes out wide to Iden. He pokes his pass out of the defensive 50 to Buntine, one of the inaugural Giants at right half back. 28 minutes into this opening term. 4-3 GWS. Richmond 3 straight. Kick's definitely not 15. It's been the rule of the week, and that certainly wasn't. Short to Taranto. Then back to Buntine, long down the line. Whack down to Ward. Hand pass to Hogan. Feeds it inside to Taranto. A little casual. Kicks up to half forward. There's no one there. 2 Tigers waited for it. Grimes got there on the bounce. Hands it back to Hooley.
He was clean there, Grimes. Hooley's handball goes to Broad. They're sweeping it across the ground. His kick to the advantage of McIntosh, but he's worried out of it. Good defensive work there. The Giants now have the footy. 1-2 with Riccardi. He gives the inside one to Ash. Clean below the feet, but then the handball was no good. Turns it over. Now the Tigers are in attack. They turn it over. A comedy of errors. Cummings sweeps his way through. And now into attack are the G-men. Bobby Hill leaves it behind. We're at left half forward. It's on the deck. They're all fighting over it. And the umpire comes in and circles and says, I'll have it here. So I'll have a throw up literally on the 50-metre junction, about a metre in. Dying stages, 29 minutes played. It's the Giants by 9 points.
The Giants kicked the handball ratio basically at 1-1 in this opening quarter. Briggs wins the hit out for the Giants. Back inboard. Taranto a little sloppy over the top. Lays the tackle on Mansell. Lump's happy with that. We'll have the ball up half forward for the Giants. New faces or newish faces for the Tigers. Ross again is the sub. There's Naish, Mansell, Ralph Smith. So we're getting a look at a bit of depth on Richmond's list tonight. As I've touched on in the opener, the Giants with just 9 from the grand final team back in 2019. As we've seen all year, the new blood with a long injury list. The Tigers try to work it out of the defensive arc. Arts eventually ends up with it spun around into tackle and taken the ground. We'll have the ball up between wing and a half forward for the Giants. GWS by 9 points, half-hour mark, opening quarter.
Up goes the ball. Nankervis just gets rid of his opponent, then Hack kicks it forward. It's good, finds Castagna playing in front, takes the chest mark. Doesn't waste too much time, just looks to drive it forward. Bolter rises, couldn't quite take the mark though. Now here comes the Giants cavalry, the inside handball to Ash, missed the target. Perryman though, mopped up. And the quick kick forward there by Taylor, went to left half forward, but again Nankervis, resolute in defence, takes the intercept mark, sweeps the ball inside to Hooley, who then found Broad. And now Asprey at left half back. His very short kick finds Naish, and they've completed the full switch.
Another second generation VFL AFL footballer on the Tigers list. This is Patrick Naish, the son of Chris, goes long down the wing. Lynch the target, offhand spills to Pickett. He's tackled, taken to ground right on the bell. And that'll do us to the opening quarter. The Giants controlled large periods, 7 scoring shots to 3. And a couple of lead changes. It's the Giants who lead by 9 points at quarter time, 4-3-27. Richmond 3 straight 18. The goal kickers in the opening term for the Giants, 1 to Toby Green, 1 to Ward, 1 to Tom Green and 1 to Josh Kelly. While for Richmond, Arts, Lynch and Nankervis, the 3 goal kickers. The game in Adelaide, 17 minutes into the opening quarter there. It's the Western Bulldogs by a point. They're 1-1, Port Adelaide 1 straight. Earlier today, a 73-point win for the Brisbane Lions over the Gold Coast. North Melbourne had their first win of the season. They beat Hawthorn by 7. And Sydney overrunning Collingwood, coming from behind at quarter time to win by 5 goals. Quarter time here. The thoughts of our experts up next. Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard. It's the Giants by 9 points on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app. Australia's best scientists and comedians join forces in the pop test.
Sorry, we're being told that our science show is getting too nerdy,
Join Triple J's Hobber and Hing as they challenge Aussies to deliver their most elaborate yarn in Simply the Jest, or tackle all the mayhem in the sporting world with Roy and HG in Bludging on the Blind Side.
How do you go with the maths there?
Oh, I'm not going to question the maths.
No.
I'm going to accept it.
Download the ABC Listen app today.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Baker virtually on halfway, City wing, looks laterally. Thought about it a couple of times and in the end goes long with the contest, kick to the hot spot. Rewalt down there, Briggs back in back, can't mark, racing after it. Sockers it off the deck and through for a major.
Flinny takes it on the second bite, gives a handball to Green, the Toby variety. This way, that way, then ends up going to the top of the square. A couple of players dealt with it off the ball, but now gets over the back. Hilberg kind of just chucked it out the back. Ends up getting it to Kelly. Kelly, 1 foot snap is good from the pocket. And the Giants bounce back. Ball's thrown in. Flynn works for front spot, taps it down. Taranto, good. Gives the handball to Tom Green. His flying shot on goal is good, and the Giants kick 2 in a row. Briggs v Nankervis, they just wrestle and the ball hits the deck. McIntosh just spikes it forward. Whitfield, though, first man on the scene, gives the inside handball to Toby Green. He's within range. Couple of straightening steps and he fires. That's a beauty.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Michael from Grovedale off the SMS. The Tigers and GWS have met 14 times, but they've never played a night game in Melbourne. There you go. Good call tonight, boys. Appreciate that, Michael. It's the first time we're witnessing one tonight, and after the opening quarter, it's the Giants by 9 points. We want to hear from you on the SMS. The number is 0437 774. Giants by 9 at quarter time. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio with their take on that opening term.
Well, I think it was a quarter of ebbs and flows, wasn't it, for both teams?
Yep.
GWS started really well. We got the first 2 on the board, I think, from memory. And what's really obvious, Lids, is the speed that both teams are trying to get in the ball, particularly from the back half. And we did GWS's game against Collingwood a number of weeks ago. And
wasn't it slow?
It was a slow, boring game of footy. So it's completely... And we continually talked about in the first half of that game just about GWS needing to get more speed in the game, get more overlap run. They must have listened to us, mate. But it's obvious they're trying to do that, and they're trying to get the ball in the halfback's hands to break that defence and congestion and the aggressive positioning that Richmond are so famous for. So, and it's obvious from Richmond, which is a little bit of a change in tact as well, isn't it? They're generally a bit more conservative from halfback, more of a kick team, less switching.
Richmond?
Yeah, but we're seeing a bit more of that tonight. So,
yep.
And Corbs, you made mention earlier in that call just about the last couple of weeks for Richmond. GWS has gone at 78% then inside 50 conversion rate, that is. They've had 7 shots from 9 entries. So that's a little bit concerning for mine for Richmond. And that's been a bit of a pattern for the last couple of weeks, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think the Tigers generally try and get the ball into the hands of Short, Hooley, to give them that little bit of overlap run. I just feel like they're overdoing it at the moment, really going out of their way to get it to Jaden Short, to Basher Hooley, to try and generate some speed and to test out the relatively young GWS defenders. But so far they're held up really well. They're really what they're trying to do. I think the Giants is press hard and come up. And as we saw, like Jake Riccardi, who's just learning his craft at half-back, turns the ball over out here on centre wing, basically, purely through pushing forward and following his man down. So that's ultimately where the game is these days, about trying to control the footy inside your forward half. And so far, so good for the Giants. They've been able to do it really well, but then it's just been, the Tigers, when they get their opportunities inside forward 50 and a couple of repeat entries, that's when they've been able to score. But no doubt they would like to make them a little bit more. They've had more inside 50s, the Tigers. They're 13-9, and they're winning the clearances as well, 11-8. So contested possession, I know you can't always hang your hat on that. I know the Giants are big on it, and the Tigers used to be. I'm not sure how much they are anymore. But, they're down at the moment, the Tigers, 39-31. The thing I think that's costing them, and that's probably due to their handball and high handball game, is the turnovers. 22.
1-1, kick the handball, right?
Yeah, but they're inviting pressure through that, which is causing turnovers. And at the moment, they're leading the Giants in that category by 6. So, if they'll just look to clean it up a little bit, I think, the Tigers, and if they can, no doubt they'll be a lot sharper with their ball use. But they're obviously coming to this game willing to take it on and play with a bit more dare. So, interesting game at the moment, Corbs.
Obviously, both teams missing a number of their first choice 22 for Richmond, though. Bolton, Cochin, Edwards, Lambert and Prestia. Those names in particular means we've got a few new faces at centre bouncers. So Jake Arts actually has a centre bounce clearance in that opening quarter. Marlon Pickett's played some time in there.
Dawson's in there.
Yeah. So
Baker, there's Dusty and Nankervis, the only two kind of stalwarts in there.
Yeah. They did hold their own. Centre bounce clearances 3-2 actually won the category in that opening quarter. 9-point lead for GWS. Second quarter action coming up on Grandstand AFL. Away we go back in the middle. Nankervis wins the tap. Little fumble from Baker. Spills to Hopper. His kick chopped out. Well done, Collier. Dawkins collects. Great tackle, Kelly. Spun around 360 degrees. Pinged holding the ball. Giants take the advantage. Hopper kicks it from the wing down towards half forward. Unkind bounce for Hogan. Follows up. Big tackle on Naish. Takes him to ground. Eventually the ball comes out. Hopper gives it to Kelly. Dusty knocks it away from him and out of play. And a throw in. City wing right on halfway. Giants by 9, approaching quarter time in Adelaide. The Dogs have kicked away. They've kicked the last 4. They lead Port Adelaide 4-2-26. Port Adelaide 1 straight 6.
Briggs versus Nankervis in the ruck. Nankervis wins the tap straight down. Green Sharks at Baker, then steals his handball, and the Tigers are away through the centre of the ground. Brilliant play. Now Dusty has the ball. Attacking centre half forward. He pulls his kick ever so slightly. And accepting that at centre half forward there is Dan Rioli. Brilliant play, a series of handballs through the middle of the ground. And you want the ball in that man's hands. Dustin Martin finds Rioli.
Young Mansell knew his place there, didn't he, with the big chief, Dustin Martin, running across in front of him. He's like, Give it here, mate.
Team rule. He would have smothered him. He went to kick.
Yeah, exactly right.
But it was good. Like I said, he knew his place. But that's the worst case scenario for any team, is to get the ball back through the corridor off the half-back flank. Opens up the whole game, and the forwards were licking their lips when they saw that ball shift from defence.
Quiet first term for Rioli. Strikes on goal from 50 out right in front. Doesn't quite have the journey. It's still in play. It was touched on the line, eventually rushed through by Cumming. Minor score. First blemish on the Tigers score sheet. 3-1-19, plays 4-3-27. It's an 8-point margin, 2 minutes into the second term here at the Docklands.
Kick out duties for Isaac Cumming. Looks straight down the pipe and then changes his mind last minute. Goes wide to Perryman. Marks at half-back. Plays on. Kicks down the wing. Miss Kelly. Sits for Briggs. Gave it to Tom Green. Got a hand pass away. Whitfield middle of the ground. Short kick up over halfway. Finds Hopper. Turns. Plays on. Kicks into a vacant forward 50. And Jesse Hogan, unmarked, hugs it to his chest. It's about a 20-metre radius from any other player on the ground as he hangs on to it 40 metres out left half forward.
Well, gets to Tom Green there in that sense. That's what having a 192, 193 centimetre big midfielder is all about. Spins around, finds Whitfield. Whitfield drops off a little kick inside, and Hopper finds Hogan. Some really nice play.
Now at his third club, reviving his career, Jesse Hogan, second game as a Giant, picked up where he left off. 4 on debut. He's got an early one tonight. GWS out by 14, 5-3-33. Richmond 3-1-19. 3 minutes into the second term, Giants by 14 points.
Well, it was arguably somewhat of a mirror image of the play before from Richmond, that they managed to get the ball back through the corridor, open up the whole ground. But what was concerning, it's just a number of things that Richmond are allowing that generally they don't. Like, where's Hopper come from? That stoppage finds so much space. They're just decisions off the ball, and their ability to slow the opposition down and defend the ground is just not quite Richmond-like and what we're used to. So really good ball movement in the end, and then Richmond's backs had no chance because they actually left Hogan on the open side of the ground in space, hoping for a bit more pressure up the field.
Well, that's usually Cochin's role, that M1, they call it, the defensive mid, so he would have been right there next to Hopper.
And then it's left to a couple of younger guys for the midfield now, is it?
So the ball from the middle goes straight down to Tom Green. He handballs back inside a loopy one to Hopper. Sells some hand candy, then back to Hogan. And he's had a sider because he's going to be firing on goal from exactly the same spot.
But again, that lack of pressure through the midfield is a great. I've been critical of Hopper's decision making and kicking in the past, and that was a great decision.
He had more running past, didn't he? But he decided to go himself.
But then needed to hit that lower, little harder one, because Hogan only had a couple of feet on broad.
In comes Hogan, kicking from about 45 out on a slight angle. He loves it off the boot. That's 2 goals within a minute for Hogan. And the Giants skip out to a 20-point lead. 6-3-39 the Giants. 3-1-19 the Tigers. 4.5 minutes played in the second term.
Did Jesse Hogan just give that to Brett Lee power?
It was a chainsaw.
Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it?
I'm here for it.
I loved it. Again, it was Tommy Green's ability to get away from the centre bounce. Clean hands, below his knees for a big guy. Flipped it out, and as you spoke about... Sorry, what are you going to say, Brendan?
No, I was just saying Green's on young Collier Dawson, so he's just his body work there, his ability to move around the footy, shifting. He was on Collier Dawson deep in 50 there. Yeah, when he pushed him off him into congestion and managed to find some space. So there's a few lessons out there for a few young Tigers tonight.
Hogan missed last week with calf soreness, kicked 4 on club debut, fortnight ago against the Crows. Great to see him back top flight footy after really a relatively unsuccessful stint over in Perth. Back in the middle, Briggs wins the tap. Kelly links up with Perryman, back edge of the square, kicks inside 50, and he's got it again. Hogan marks on his chest at centre half forward, and he can shoot to kick 3 in 3 minutes.
Yes, kick the goal. You are on fire, big fella. You don't pass these ones up, Beach, do you? You've just kicked 2 in a minute. You're striking him very, very well.
Let's get the stutter steps going on here.
From 50 out, right in front, Jesse Hogan, true centre half forward. He's off target, hasn't quite got the trip or the accuracy as it floats through from behind. And a minor score. He's feeling it, Jesse, in that forward 50. Giants by 21 early in the second term.
The ball's brought in, looking for a one-on-one. Dusty v. Iden. Well done in the contest there from Iden. Ball goes out of bounds in between wing and half back for the Tigers, city side of the ground. Over in Adelaide, well, it's the Dogs by 19 points. 5-2-32 plays 2-1-13. Late stages of the first term. Ball's thrown in. Nancurvis can't quite win the tap, but it goes down to the advantage of Naish. He leaves it behind. Here's Dusty. Attracts the crowd and then gives it back to Naish. Naish's forward handball finds Pickett. Just kind of stop time and then turns it over, coming through the middle of the ground. Here's Green, and he finds Hogan again. Short kick, and Hogan will be lining up about 45 out on a slide angle right in front.
I think
hot.
They may have to, there's not enough pressure around the ball through the midfield. They're making, or they've got time to make really good decisions, and Richmond backs are all just caught at sea. Green again, is it? So Green and Hopper having a huge impact, but there's no pressure around the ball, or not enough of it.
In comes Hogan, breaks the paint, fires on goal. He loves it off the boot. That's 3 in the term for Hogan. He's on absolute fire. And they're out by 27 points, the Giants. 7-4-46, plays 3-1-19. 7.5 minutes gone.
Just to jump in, Jess Webster on the boundary.
Fair to say the Pro Tigers crowd is a little bit flat at the moment. Their voice has been taken away from them by the Giants, but there is a small contingent of GWS fans sitting behind the goals towards the end that they're kicking to in this quarter. They're absolutely loving life at the moment. So they're small in number, but they're loving their side's performance at the moment.
And a few Giant supporters just around the boundary you can see there too, Jess.
The quarter's been going 8 minutes. Lids, Jesse Hogan.
Doesn't like that one.
4 kicks. 4 marks, 4 score involvements, 3 goals, 1.
Yeah, so young Collier Dawkins is just getting a bit of toweling from. So they're going to persist though. He's back in this centre square bounce, but I think they may have to change it up. Just go to their one wood now, Richmond, and get a bit more experience around the ball.
New game high, 4 in a row for the Giants. They're up by 27 points. Jesse Hogan taking it away from them. Back in the middle of the ground, Taranto wrapped up by Martin. Ball comes out, Ump says play on. Martin sockers it away. Ash picks it off for the Giants. Hand pass, Miss Kelly went without it. The Tigers work it out through Naish. Links up with Ralph Smith, who closes to 40 out, and a man on debut is left to wait for his first. He misses to the near side.
That is a rude lid, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a fairly decent mullet. The haircut on Hugo Ralph Smith.
Feedback's feedback. It's not positive, it's not negative.
Giants by 26 points, 9 minutes into the second term.
I'm well equipped to get it.
Your words, not mine, Peach. Taranto has the ball, centre half back. Bit of possession footy here for the Giants. Big sweeping kick to right half back, finds Taylor. He chips one over the top. City side of the ground finds Kelly. Just progress them about 20 metres. Josh Kelly shapes to switch, elects not to in the end, drives it long down the line. Pack of 5 fly. The fist came over the back from Grimes. He butted up his own work. Good work there by Collier Dawkins. Got the hands out wide. In fact, too wide. Naish gathered the ball and it was pushed out of bounds. True centre wing. Literally centre wing, city side of the ground. 26 points the margin here. Jesse Hogan on fire this term, kicking 3 goals. Giants taking this game away from the Tigers.
Led by 9 points at quarter time. As Tone said, it's at the 26 now. Hogan with 3 in 4 minutes. Fascinating stage of the game. All of a sudden, the Tigers under the pump early here in this second term from the boundary throwing. They give Pickett a lot of time. Eventually the ball comes out. Tom Green on the outside of the stoppage. Hands it to Ward. He's bumped into by Pickett. The ball ends up out of play on the full, according to the boundary umpire. It hit the boot at the last minute of Callum Ward. This may be a Richmond free kick. There's now a conference between the field umpire and the boundary umpire.
Can you have a conference with 2 people?
I think it's a very small conference. And interesting, the field umpire is actually going to overrule the boundary umpire. The boundary ump called out on the full. The field umpire says, chuck it in.
Definition of a conference.
I am.
From the throw-in, Bolter wins it down for the Tigers. Kelly, though, links up with Taranto. The Giants away. Whitfield shoots a hand pass back inboard. It's picked off, though. Castagna hands it out wide. Naish went without it. Ward is tackled. Pack form, City wing. We haven't gone far, and we'll have a boundary throw-in again on the City wing. Giants by 26 points. 11 minutes into the second term.
I'll allow it, Corbs. conference is correct. Ball comes down, squirted out, sort of towards right half forward for the Giants. We're hard up against the boundary. Taranto tried to kick it off the deck. Dusty eventually intercept this way, that way. Gives the defensive handball to Hooley, who then comes inside to Bolter, gives it back to Hooley. Quick hands here, nice one to Collier Dawkins. Flicks on over the top inside, looking for Castagna, but he's worried out of it by Green. Green tries to sweep one inside and spike forward from Hooley for the Tigers. Dustin Martin tries to crack in. He turns it over, and now the Giants are away through Lloyd, attacking centre half forward. Kicking to the hot man, it's Hogan v Broad. Hogan almost takes the mark. Can't quite find the handle though. Good work by Short. Busted through a tackle, gives to Broad. And now McIntosh drives it long down the line, but the defensive fist came from Iden over the back of Arts. Big 50-50 ball. Bolter v Iden. I'll call that a draw, and we'll have a ball up. Love seeing that right in front of the broadcast box. We'll have a ball up. 26 points the margin.
Big Nate loves a bit of skin on skin, doesn't he?
Skin on skin, but what was great was the technique from both guys.
Yes.
So we saw it brought up last week with Selwood, and he's perfect. And who was Mansell, and the poor technique from him. Yeah. So great technique from both guys.
So boundary throw-in just beneath us, Giants by 26 points. From the throw-in, Bolter hooks it down behind, but straight to Kelly. Rides the bump as he kicks the Giants to half forward. Himmelberg and Asprey one-on-one. The ball bounces back to Himmelberg fortuitously. Hand pass over his shoulder. Lloyd onto it. He's mowed down. Great chase down tackle, Floston. Umpire says play on. Pinball's back into traffic. Asprey collects. He's held up in the standing tackle. And a ball up half forward for the Giants.
Is there a holding a ball rule anymore? Is it?
I don't think we're doing that anymore.
Nah, that's okay.
What it does do is it keeps the ball in momentum and speed in the game. Doesn't slow it down.
Briggs won the tap down to Hopper. He was immediately wrapped up, just kind of got the ball out. Tom Green eventually first man on the scene. Handball looking for Ash. Couldn't find him though. Ralph Smith tried to put the burners on and give the handball inside, but he turned it over. Green goes inside looking for Whitfield. It's a hot footy. It's gone up a notch. Ash had a crack. Has a second crack and eventually comes out wide back to Tom Green. Left half forward. He checks his kick beautifully and finds Himmelberg. He took the mark right on 50. We're right behind him here in the broadcast box. Oh no, he's on a 45-degree angle at left half forward. Got the legs here, Lids?
Yeah, he does. No worries there. What I've really enjoyed is the pressure went up there a little bit from the Tigers. Like they really tried to add a bit of heat to the game, but the young Giants, midfielders and backs, really stood up. Oh, something's happened.
Beach, what have you seen?
It was Hogan and Broad initially, so Broad was putting a lot of body work into Hogan, and Hogan actually just tried to push off him and gave Broad, I think, a bit of a backhander, and then they got this.
And a free kick's going to be paid for Richmond, so unfortunately Himmelberg is going to have to hand it straight to Hooley on the mark. He goes short to Asprey, long down the line for the Tigers, and up in front Castagna takes the mark. He's some midfield minutes tonight, hasn't kicked a goal in his last 3 games, Jason Castagna. In front of the interchange here, he goes long down to half forward. Target is Lynch, slips out the back. Here's Taranto, slips over. Ralph Smith's got him. Hand pass comes out to Lynch, takes on the tackler. Lost the footy, up lets it roll. Taranto hands it to Tom Green. And he kicks down the boundary line. In fact, it's Hopper and Ward takes the mark. Barely 15 there. The ump says it's all okay. Pulls the trigger back inboard to Whitfield, who marks the centre half back.
Feel it's gone up a notch here. Buckley got the ball from Whitfield and then just kicked it down the line to Hogan. A couple of complimentary boos from the Richmond faithful on the city side of the ground. He goes wider still and finds Riccardi. He shapes back inside, finds Iden. This has all been by foot. He just kicks a short one forward, finds Whitfield, beautiful user of the ball. He's on the logo, city side of the ground. I say that and you just moz him, don't you? Turns it over. Castagna now gives it to Graham. The Tigers are full of run. He goes out wide. Now the kick comes long from Arts, looking for Martin. He's got a one-on-one. Jeez, he's good in that situation. Gets rid of Buntine and takes the mark in the left forward pocket. Not where you want to be as a defender. One out with Dusty. He shapes to come around, as he so often does, and he finishes making no mistake, kicking a much-needed goal for the Tigers. Their first of the quarter. Dusty's first of the match. And the Tigers are back within 20 points. 4-2-26, play 7-4, 46, 16 gone.
Well, it was that turnover in the middle of the ground. Tone, as you just gave a pump up to young, or not young anymore, Whitfield. So the turnover came and then they were just all caught out. They were in full offensive mode. They weren't well set up behind the ball, and they created a bit of overlap. And Dusty hadn't moved from his little 30-metre little area in front of goal, so he was always going to be the one out the back and closer to goal. So, yeah, really good play in the end and a good finish. But you don't see Dusty. He doesn't leave the ground very often in marking contests, does he?
Not a jumper.
Yeah,
he's very strong in the hips, wrestler.
Which will then give him his opportunity if the ball hits the ground to follow up so quick. So, but you rarely ever see him take a mark either on the lead or two mark above his head where he's actually running and jumping and getting off the ground.
Giants by 20 points midway through the second quarter. Back in the middle. Hopper tackled by Pickett. Dispossessed. Toby Green had it. Lost it. Briggs picks it up. He's taken high. A high tackle from Bolter. And Callum Ward just pulls him away by the collar. So he touched on feeling certainly in this, despite the fact there's a number of players from the lead cast out for both teams. Long kick inside 50. Big Flynn.
Gerald.
Arriving late to pull it down for the Giants at centre half forward. He was reaching over the back of 2 or 3 and came down with it. Matt Flynn, the ruckman, resting forward. Pulls it down from the sky. He'll kick from 50 out right in front.
Well, Briggs and Flynn just teaming up.
Yeah, mate, that was he does that regularly in the NEFL and has done for quite a few years. He's just probably been found
as a forward more.
Forward ruck, mixing his time up, but just been behind Dawson Simpson, Big Mummy, obviously. So great that he's getting his opportunity.
They're 0-4 this year without Mummy, 4-0 with him to try and turn that tonight. Looking for his first win. The kick from Flynn is off target. Misses out the left. Still looking for his first snag as well. Giants by 21 now, 18 minutes into the second term.
Short, goes short, finds Hooley in the right back pocket. His forward kick was kind of mucked up by Pickett, but he was good enough to gather and then kick down the line looking for Lynch. Good defence though from Taylor, affected the spoil, and then kicked it forward looking for Toby Green. Defensive fist though came from Hooley at centre wing, and the ball trickles out of bounds right in front of the Richmond interchange gate. So the throw in, 21 points the margin. It's the Giants in front. Dustin Martin kicking the last goal there for the Tigers. It was much needed. The tap comes down in the path of Taranto. He gives it to Ash. He tries to take on the tackler who's Graham. Arches the back, gets away from him and then kicks inside 50. The kick's pretty good. It's to the advantage of Flynn, but he leaves it behind in the end. It was Briggs, I should say. Briggs left it behind. And the ball eventually goes out of bounds. Himmelberg picked it up and was tackled immediately by Grimes. So I have a throw in. Sort of 25 around, broadcast side of the ground.
Just big
Grimes deep in attack.
Just get out of my space, Toby Green. The old school.
Get it in.
Just lead in the opposite direction, mate. Just get me one out.
Early second quarter in Adelaide, the Bulldogs lead Port by 19 from the boundary throw-in. Nankervis grabs it out the ruck, dispossessed by Hopper. Hand pass away to Lloyd. He gives it to Ward, who fumbles. Goes back in for a second go, bowled over. Pack forms behind him. Centre half forward for the Giants will have the ball up. Jesse Hogan kicked 3 goals in 4 minutes earlier in the quarter. Dustin Martin kicking the last of the game. The Giants have led by as many as 27. They currently lead by 21. Time on second term. Clearing kick for the Tigers in the middle of the ground. Ralph Smith spoils down towards Rewalt. He's tackled. We'll have the ball up in the middle of the ground. Hugo Ralph Smith, picked 46 in the 2019 draft, son of Sean, who played for the Saints and the Hawks in the early 90s. That's a 10-letter word as well, Tone. Ralph Smith. It's not a hyphenated name.
It's got a couple of luxury brands in there, doesn't it? 3, actually.
I like it, Beach.
Call him luxury.
The ball comes out wide. The Giants in attack. Nice composure there by Tom Green. Eventually gives the inside handball to Taranto at right half forward. He kicks forward. Floating early was Toby Green. Couldn't quite complete the transaction at ground level. The Giants are cracking in. Green has another go. He's immediately wrapped up, though, by Broad and Baker. And Short's in there as well. And we'll have a throw up. 5 metres in from the boundary line. 45 metres out for the Giants. City side of the ground. Nankervis spikes it forward. First man on the seed, though, is Lloyd. He busts through one tackle and gives the defensive handball. Tom Green, left foot inside, kicks a floater. It's a chaos ball. It goes to the top of the square. First man on the scene is Asprey. He gives a handball to Naish. He tries to arch the back. He was wrapped up, but then he got out of it like Houdini. And eventually kicks it long down the line. There's been a free kick, though. Was it for something after the play? My eyes were fine.
No, I think there's only it was legged.
Yeah, trip.
So it's for a trip. So Naish has the ball at right half back for the Tigers. Gives the defensive handball to Short and the Tigers are away.
He swings it from one back flank to the other. Dylan Grimes, first game back from concussion, marks, pokes the kick out of the defensive arc. Hawley takes the mark, defensive side of the wing, turns and bangs it up into the front half. Rewalt the target, tries to get rid of Buckley. Spills down to Cumming though of the Giants. Hand pass out to Riccardi. Defensive side City wing goes long to a one-on-one. Mansell in the box seat, he's going to get the free kick. Bobby Hill all over him, hanging on to the defender. Looks in the middle of the ground here, Mansell, and Baker takes the mark, got a little pressure after doing so.
He continues the switch, finding Asprey at the back right point of the square. He kicks forward to centre wing and finds Naish high up and under. Looking for Lynch. He flies, can't come down with it, but gathers his own crumb and then picks it up quickly and kicks it to the top of the square. Dusty's there. He can't find the handle, though. Good defensive work there by Arden, but Dusty found a way where no one else could. Kicked it off the deck and fires through for his second. That's 2 in a row for Dusty, and the Tigers are back within 15 points with 22 minutes gone. 7-5-47 the Giants, 5-2-32 the Tigers. 15 points the margin here at the Docklands.
Well, that almost speaks true to exactly what you were talking about, Beach. And he doesn't fly a hell of a lot, but he's so quick to get back onto the loose ball. So crafty for a bloke who stands, 186, 187 centimetres.
But it's almost like he needed to almost do the memory double jump there to take that mark, because Iden had it all over him. But
just
the decision to stay on the ground actually then what brought him back into the game. He was able to kick that goal.
7 minutes into the second quarter in Adelaide. Port with a couple in a row, so the Dogs lead cut to 7. The Western Bulldogs 6-2. Easton Wood subbed out of the game with a soft tissue injury. Port Adelaide 5-1.
I think it's a hammy.
Here we're in time on of the second quarter. The Giants lead cut to 15 with Dusty kicking the last 2 of the game. Nankervis wins the tap. Hopper first disposal though. Hand pass to Kelly. Hands it to Perryman. Hurried kick. Middle of the ground. Chopped off Hawley. Hands it to Baker for the Tigers. Kicks wide. Nankervis out after it. Lets it bounce. Follows up close to the boundary line. Perryman gives a nudge to the big ruckman. Happy to see it out. Boundary throw in 70 out from the Tigers goal.
Flat out race that one between Nankervis and Harry Perryman. Really breaking records, those two big blokes.
15-point lead for the Giants, 24 minutes into the second quarter.
Working for front spot is Nankervis, straight down to Collier Dawkins. He's immediately wrapped up, though, by Kelly and Ward. Still standing, though.
How many Ks did Dusty do a game, Lids?
Oh, between 10 and 11, I would have thought.
You thought or you know?
Don't know.
I like that. 48% of statistics are made up, Lids.
Did I sound confident?
I don't know. So the handball came from Flynn, went defensively to Whitfield. He elected to go on the left boot looking for Hogan, but in doing so the ball went over the back. Eventually Broad swooped on it, gathered the ball and switches the kick. It's a good play here. Mansell with the ball at centre half back. Just a little chip, finds Short, chased by Bobby Hill. His kick looking for Rewalt, falls short. Rewalt though kind of traps it and keeps it in front. Taps it out in front of himself and then handballs it whilst on the deck. It's only going to go as far as Taylor. Nice little handball though. And the kick inside was a ripper to Taranto. So Taranto has it on the logo, city side of the ground.
Just goes short. Kicks out wide to Lloyd, who takes the mark just inside the boundary line. Still city side. Josh Kelly's all alone. Marks between wing and half forward. Turns, kicks long. Jesse's down there and he's got it again. Hogan takes the mark, but taken down after doing so.
Yep.
And he's going to be marched to the top of the goal square. No one comes with him to stand the mark, and this will be 4 in the quarter. And the comeback story gets even better for Jesse Hogan. He's smoking in this second term. GWS 8-5-53, Richmond 5-2-32. 26 minutes into the second quarter, Giants by 21.
Sorry, he's like quick to get up, run to the square to kick the goal, and then goes down like it's nothing over. But it was that kick back inside that opened up the whole game. I don't even know who it was.
Is that coming? Is an elite kick off half back.
Is he that good a kick?
Yeah, he's a beautiful kick. Yeah. He's just probably been behind Heath Shaw because he was holding that spot almost over the last few years. Really, developed his game really well off half back, and that's what he can do. And that's why they have him kicking out from fullback.
So that was impressive. That just opened up the whole game because Richmond had that outnumbered down the line. They'd come forward to defend, left Jesse Hogan out the back, but once that ball came back inside, it changed the angle. and open up the corridor, then Jesse, that's the only reason he was able to get that. So great decision, great kick.
Jess Webster on the boundary. He's just come off the ground. Jesse Hogan.
He has, and he was met with boos by the Richmond fans too. They weren't happy to see him down here.
So hurried kick out of the middle of the ground for GWS. Picked up by Toby Green. Hits up Bobby Hill. Out on the lead. And he takes the mark here about 30 out right half forward.
It's great work by Tobes. That was on his left too, but his ability to keep his feet then under pressure from Hawley. It looked like probably 75% of guys probably would have went to ground or fumbled it, but managed to keep his feet, gather, and then on his left.
And he's 4 goals, 9 for the season, Bobby Hill. He's got to look at a set shot here to cash in on their dominance. Bobby Hill moves in. His drop punt is perfect. They're out by 27 and equal a game high GWS on the stroke of half time. The Giants 9-5-59 giving it to the Tigers, who are 5-2-32. Margin back to 27 as many minutes travelled in the second term. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, it was the clearance from Big Matty Flynn out of the middle, but it was the work of Toby Green keeping his feet and only had to get it to the advantage of Bobby Hill. He'll make it look very good. He's as quick a bloke as I've seen out of the blocks.
Again, just the efficiency of then going forward is crazy.
Yeah.
They have opened up the game really well a couple of times from half back, but just even little things like that, pressure around the ball. Toby's still got enough time. You probably just handed to him there. He didn't have much time on review. So a couple of little special things. Dusty up one end, kicking 2 in a row to keep Richmond in it. There's a huge response from GWS just to quieten this Richmond crowd.
It's a ripper over at Adelaide Oval. The Power have hit the front. They're up by 5 points. 7-1-43, plays 6-2-38. The Tigers now into attack through Baker. Left foot kick is good, but it just goes over the top of Lynch. He was kind of tunnelled a little bit out of it coming. Looks to give the handball to Buntine. Eventually, he gets it there. Buntine's kick was under pressure. We're still inside defensive 50 here for the Giants. Green's over the top of it. That's Tom. Eventually, McIntosh rips it out of there. His kick was smothered and it bounced back fortuitously straight to him. He handballs inside to Lynch. Lynch leaves it behind, and then diving on the footy was a number of players. One of them was McIntosh. The umpire says, we'll have it here. We'll throw it up. 35 out from the Tigers' goal. They need one. They trail by 27 points. So up it goes. Lynch contesting the ruck. It goes straight down. A number of players jump on the ball again, so we'll have another throw up. The last man up there is Collier Dawkins. So 35 out. Tigers in attack. They need one just before half-time. Perriman has a crack. He's ripped off it. Eventually Hopper, though, gets it out to Tom Green, and his right foot kick goes to right half-back.
So close to the boundary line. Himmelberg and Asprey see it out, and a throw-in just forward of halfway for the Tigers. It's a bit busted up to Jesse Hogan. He was holding a towel to his mouth when he came off. I'll get to Jess in a moment to see if he's ready to come back on. What a quarter he's had, Hogan, with 4 goals in his second quarter alone. Having kicked 4 on club debut a fortnight ago. On the boundary throw-in, Tom Green got his hands free. Hand pass ended up with Collier Dawkins. Tumbles a kick to half forward. Art's out to meet it. Dispossessed in the tackle. Perryman puts his head over it. Half back for the Giants. Lost it in dispute. Dusty stands up with it. Hand pass over his shoulder. Reaches Vlosten. Slips over. Whitfield tackles him. Still a loose ball at half back for the Giants. Tom Green's kick cut off. Socket through traffic. Toby Green jams it on the boot in the middle of the ground, but no one back. Short takes the intercept mark. Just backwards of halfway for the Tigers.
Clever kick to left half forward. Finds McIntosh. He wastes no time. Plays on and finds Bolter inside 50. That was smooth stuff there by the Tigers. Bolter has it 45 out on a 45-degree angle at left half forward.
Yeah, they just lost their shape a little bit there, the Giants. That quick kick forward had no one sitting back, equalising the numbers, and they weren't quick enough to realise that Camden McIntosh was sitting on the outside, gave him a free look, kicking 1v none into Bolter v Buntine. Very powerful unit, this bloke.
In comes Bolter. He'll fire from just outside 50. Looks like it came off the side of the boot, so it's not going to trouble the scorers. Big defensive fist comes but into the path of Graham. He leaves it behind, though, the North Adelaide boy. Butters up, though. Gets it inside. Here's Collier Dawkins on the left boot. He loves it. Took on a tackler, dodged him, and then snapped it on the left. Kicks his first. And the Tigers are back within 21 points. 9-5-59 the Giants. 6-2-38 the Tigers. 31 minutes played in the second term.
Well, loves it is right, Tone. He absolutely loved that one. I just felt with the big spoil from Flynn coming out, Dave O'Halloran had a chance to really attack that. Well, he could have marked it. Yeah, you're right, Tony. He probably could have grabbed it first up just to have the ball in their possession. Dave O'Halloran just sort of waited, wasn't sure whether he was going to go or not, and allowed Jack Graham to come through, take on the tackle and get it to Collier Dawkins. A nice finish for the young bloke for your first goal on the left on Saturday night footy. Very happy with that one, Tone.
Third game of footy, first round pick back in 2018. Jess Webster, can you see Jesse Hogan on the bench?
Yeah, he's just nursing a split lip at the moment, but there might not be enough time to get him back on the field this quarter. He might just have to settle with the 4 goals.
32 minutes into the quarter, Collier Dawkins kicking the goal and getting the centre break. Looks for Baker, kicks it over his head. Baker fights on, collects in the pocket. Hand pass to Arch, tries to break the Ash tackle. Ash got a hand pass away. Baker has a second go, swings it to the top of the goal square. Fontine collects, drilled in the 2-man tackle, taken to ground. Umpire says ball up. And we'll have a stoppage, top of the goal square for the Tigers, trying to pinch a couple late in the quarter. Then Curvis and Flynn to go at it. The Tigers run out of time. The quarter belongs to the Giants. They kicked 5 goals to 3 in the quarter. A late one to Collier Dawkins pegs the margin back to 21. The Giants led on 2 separate occasions by 27 points. In that term, Jesse Hogan kicking 4 in the quarter. The goal kickers, Hogan has 4. 1 for Toby Green, Tom Green, Kel Ward, Josh Kelly and Bobby Hill. While for Richmond, 2 for Dustin Martin, 1 for Arts, Lynch, Nan Curvis and Collier Dawkins. So the Giants by 9 points at quarter time and now by 21 at the half. 9-5-59. Richmond 6-2-38. Richmond just a little huddle here at centre half forward at the Coventry end or the southern end of the ground, and now they're going to turn and make their way off. The Giants will be pretty happy with their work. Both teams 4-4, looking to stay on the positive side of the ledger tonight. Over in Adelaide, close run thing there. The Western Bulldogs by a point over Port Adelaide. The Dogs 7-2, Port Adelaide 7-1. That's 18 minutes into the second quarter. The thoughts of our experts, Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. What have we witnessed in that first half of footy?
Well, entertaining game of footy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think GWS will obviously be really happy going with a 21-point lead. So there was a response there from Richmond. Dusty kicked 2 in a row, but then kind of sign of maturity from GWS, just finding a way just to kind of squash their confidence and especially the home crowd here that Richmond do have, and then managed to respond with a couple themselves. So a really good effort. I think Buckley and Taylor have done really good jobs watching Lynch and Rewalt pretty closely.
A new role for Jack Buckley too. He spent a lot of time on the wing when he first started, and now they've just shifted him back later. I reckon it was almost the Collingwood game that we did was nearly his first game there.
Yeah, so that's been impressive, been watching them too closely, so they'll be really happy with the way that's going. And also what's impressive for GWS is the decisions off half-back, we mentioned a number of times, but it feels as if they're... It's funny how we kept referring to the Collingwood game, because I felt even defensively there and watching a couple of games on TV, they were heavily like one-on-one defensively.
Yep.
It looks like they've tweaked that a little bit, and they're more thinking about that forward
how
half.
they can help.
Yeah, getting help, playing more of that rolling kind of grid, protecting the dangerous space through the corridor, those 45s. And their forwards are getting, right up the ground to get lateral with the ball, which helps. Well, it helps. It is slowing Richmond down. So I feel like Richmond haven't got any fluent ball movement offensively anyway. It feels like that, which kind
they're
of
trying to force it up.
Yeah, now they're trying to force it, and we've seen the high handball in the first quarter. But I think GWS, it's all about them. It's really positive. Richmond, obviously, what's interesting too, Vossen just started that centre square bounce in the square, which... When's the last time you saw Nick Voston in the middle? So I'm just wondering,
and I was there,
because of that, trying to find that extra midfielder that's vacant from Koch and Edwards.
Yeah, bigger body probably.
Prestia.
They're so big in there, the Giants.
Yeah, so then a bit more experience, but he doesn't have, in terms of games played he has, but he's got little experience as actually on ball player. So I'm just wondering, that's just then the team balance. He obviously comes out of defence, and they've been so solid and. So consistent down there for so long. That's just changing a number of things. Collier Dawkins is in there. We saw Baker in there. Arts is in there. So the team balance is just something that we I guess we're so used to seeing the regulars in the Richmond team that now they're being really challenged with these injuries, trying to find that right balance in terms of their midfield and how that affects either their forward line or the defence in this occasion when I'm talking about Boston.
I think it shows how much you rely on your midfield, especially for a back line. And that back line's pretty set. Like, it hasn't changed too much. Bolter, we're probably seeing more play a little bit forward and
forward
right
now. Like, so they're throwing the magnets around.
Yeah, but in terms of, like, you hardly would you see for a half 12 marks against inside forward 50.
Yep.
They've really opened them up. And a couple of times, actually, I wouldn't say they got lost, but Jesse Hogan's been by himself, like 1v none.
Yeah, well, that was a couple of times where that kick came.
Well, that's that change of angle kick, wasn't it, that's really opened them up.
That forward press that they do.
So it's a little bit of that. But I think it's the biggest part for this Beach is the ability of the midfielders to win it on the inside, but then get them on the outside, and that's where we're seeing that inexperience, not being able to have that peripheral vision and you know, bees to a honeypot a little bit, and then that outer layer.
Ball watching, no
ball watching,
yeah.
exactly. But that's where the Giants have been able to carve them up a little bit, and that's where, you know, having Whitfield and Kelly, who are two elite users on the outside and know how to drop into little holes, having those two guys on the wing, and then having Hopper, Taranto, Green, Ward on the inside, bigger bodies, can stand up in tackles, get it outside. You know, the forwards are licking their lips. There's no worries about that. But
yeah, the clear advantage for GWS, I think, is in that midfield, isn't it? And I think it's been evident.
Yeah.
In that first half, with Green getting off the chain a couple of times, making good decisions.
Yep.
Collier Dawkins, who you like a couple of things, he moves really well too. And you may have mentioned Corbs is a high draft pick and probably just been starved of opportunities. So. You know, even the guys that have got games under the belt, even Floston in there now is an interesting one. Baker in there, he can find the footy, but his decisions around the ball, you know, when to stay out, when to cover his man, all those little things that they're not used to. You know, he's used to having the game all in front of him, in the back half. So there's a lot more things you got to think about through the midfield. So I think just a number of those things. And personnel tonight are really hurting Richmond. It's really obvious in the midfield that's. So
where do they change it, you reckon, to get back into it?
Well, it's hard. That's why I made mention that quarter that maybe just, you know, go to the more experienced players and
ask a bit more of them in terms of time.
Well, proven players that are in there, and then even if that's not working, then where do you go to? But
few and far between, though, unfortunately for the Tigers. All their experienced midfielders aren't playing.
Yeah,
the guys that spend the majority of the minutes in there. So it's they're learning in there. They're learning their craft on the run, which is good for them in the long run, I think. But tonight, like, it's
not an ideal situation. You're playing GWS in Melbourne and they're 4-4.
Yeah, and they're right around each other on the ladder.
So they've won 4 of their last 5. The Giants, they carry in some form. We talk a lot about the guys missing for Richmond, but no Cornelio, no Davis, no De Boer. Daniel's out. Finlayson suspended. Keefe went down last week with an ACL. Bruce is probably their first choice ruckman, isn't playing. No Kennedy and Sam Reid, who's arguably in their best 22. So
Mumford, you haven't mentioned the big fella Mumford, who's
been rested
the
tonight,
winning man. He just keeps winning.
So that they're missing a boatload of their first choice 22 as well. Score sources tonight: 6 goals, 3 from stoppage. That's a high number, isn't it? Particularly in half of footy.
And a couple down in the forward 50, which is that's where coaches hate those more than most things.
So that's GWS. 6
marks
goals
on the goal line, probably the other thing.
6 goals, 3 to 1-2.
And is that the inexperience in around the stoppages, being able to not set up right so you have like your layers, Beach? Because you were talking about Collier Dawkins a couple of times.
Green. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just being pushed under. Green's doing a really good job, and Green's, you know, inexperienced in the whole scheme of things, so he can smell a bit of blood that he's on a younger guy, and he's a big body too, big body midfielder, but his ability is to push him under and then hold his width. So little decisions like that people wouldn't pick up on, but just with experience you pick up on, and younger guys. So Collier Dawkins thinks he's kind of out of the play once he's been pushed under, and he doesn't make a quick enough decision to get back. So little things like that. Now again, like Baker and Floston, they've played a number of games now, Floston being the more experienced one, but their inside midfield craft, I'd arguably say that they don't have it, unless you know something that I don't. Lads and lids. I did mean lads, but so they're just down on personnel, which is, I think, is really evident tonight. They can't go to anyone now, can they? Like you just alluded to, I said maybe go to more experience, but
where is it?
They just don't have it.
They're sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, they're up there. Yeah,
that's unfortunate, but for the time being, they're just going to have to do and make the most out of what they got.
So far fewer on their injury list, but all in one area of the ground. So Bolton obviously breaking his wrist last weekend. Cochin, Edwards, Lambert, Prestia joined Soldo and Garthwaite on that injury list. Richmond's score source, no surprise, off turnovers, so they've kicked 5 goals that way. GWS at 2-2. Just a quick word on Jesse Hogan. I mentioned it during the call. Just one of the feel-good stories in footy this year, that he's 2 games back, kicked 4 on debut, 4 this week. He obviously went through hell in the back end of Melbourne in his personal life, had personal tragedy, had to overcome a bout of cancer, made his way to Perth for various reasons. It didn't quite work out. It was square peg round hole there. Some of that his own doing, by the way. Gets another chance at it to come to GWS. And he's 2 games in after having to overcome injury at the start of the year, and he's kicked 8 goals in his first 6 quarters of footy for his new club.
Yeah, I think you can put it all down to wearing the Dave Mundy specials, the career savers. I think that's been the main reason, don't you think? I think it's really helping his lower limbs. He just looks sharper.
So explain to our listeners what career savers are.
The ASIC chunks, the school buses. I wore them in my last ever game.
Did you have a black pair?
The school buses.
Yeah.
Did you have a black? That's when I knew that guys had like hit a real low. It's when you pull out the black career savers. Yeah, it's just like what's going on?
Only for training. They look like school shoes. But no, I'm having a bit of a laugh. But no, mate, I'm absolutely wrapped for him, to be honest, because he's been obviously at Melbourne, showed some real signs there as a big key forward, and I saw him absolutely tear Rancy. One of the few times I saw Rancy ever get beaten in a wet game, Anzac Eve. But then to go and didn't quite fit, obviously, as you said, over at Freo, a few things not going his way. But then to get his next chance up at the Giants after, obviously, Jezza Cameron leaves, probably going to be the focal point up forward.
And he looks well, though, doesn't he? And legitimately looks as fit as he... I know that's an easy throwaway line, but he actually does.
And who's his role model? Shane Mumford. You wouldn't believe it. The big fella has taken him under his wing, and he's fitted in like hand in glove.
A couple of scallywags come clean, have they?
Yeah, well, mate, they're looking after each other, and he openly says that, Shane's been great for me since coming over, and he did a real rapport with these young boys.
Yeah, still only 26. I mean, he kicked over 40 goals in a season a couple of times, I think, before the time he was 23 years of age. So a lot to like about Jesse Hogan with 4 in that second quarter. Giants by 21 at half-time here on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. Meanwhile, the other game, time on second quarter there, Port Adelaide have hit the front, so they've come from 20-odd down to now lead the Western Bulldogs 8-1 to 7-2. It's a 5-point advantage for Port Adelaide on the stroke of half-time. Half-time here, though, second half action not far away, so we better check out what's happening in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The federal government's controversial ban on travel from India has lifted, with 80 people from the COVID-ravaged nation travelling from New Delhi to Darwin. Here's Jade Toomey.
The Northern Territory has been hosting repatriated Australians from India for months, but this flight is the first to arrive in Howard Springs since the federal government's controversial travel ban was lifted at midnight. The flight was scheduled to carry 150 passengers, but only 80 were on board after 70 people tested positive to COVID or were deemed close contacts. They'll spend 14 nights in quarantine at the Howard Springs facility near Darwin, with anyone who tests positive to be treated in an isolated red zone. Plans for further repatriation flights from India will be reviewed if the number of positive cases from today's flight nears 50.
The number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered worldwide has passed 1.4 billion. India's administered nearly 180 million doses as it deals with well over 300,000 new cases a day and around 4,000 deaths. The Indian government's warning the virus is now spreading rapidly in rural areas after ravaging the cities. The world's now recorded more than 160 million cases of the virus since the start of the pandemic and well over 3.3 million deaths. Israeli planes have renewed airstrikes in Gaza, and Hamas militants have responded by firing rockets into Israel. Palestinian medical officials say at least 132 people have been killed in Gaza since Monday and 950 others wounded. Israeli authorities say among 8 dead in Israel are a soldier patrolling the Gaza border and 6 civilians. Emergency teams are being sent to India's western coastal states as they brace for the first cyclone of the year. Meteorologists fear it may intensify, with the cyclone already bringing heavy rain, prompting concerns about flooding and landslides. Evacuations are underway in low-lying areas. Indian authorities are already struggling with a record surge in coronavirus infections and deaths. Chinese media says a tornado struck the central city of Wuhan, killing 6 people. The reports say more than 200 were injured and 27 houses destroyed, while another tornado has killed at least 1 person in China's east. Meanwhile, China's taken a major leap in space, becoming only the second country to land a rover on Mars. Here's Bill Birtles.
China's state media declared the successful soft landing on Mars, capping an historic triple leap for China's space program. In just one mission, China has managed to orbit Mars, land on Mars, and deploy a six-wheeled robot called Zhurong on the surface. As the spacecraft made the notoriously risky descent, a longer-than-expected transmission delay kept scientists on the ground nervously waiting. China's government says the rover will now spend 90 days taking samples and exploring the Martian surface. Bill Birtles, ABC News.
US President Joe Biden's continuing to roll back executive orders issued by his predecessor, Donald Trump. They include a proclamation that sought to bar US entry to immigrants lacking medical insurance. Others Mr. Biden's overturning, including Mr. Trump's orders on penalising attacks on monuments and deriding online censorship. A joint rescue effort involving the Australian Maritime Safety Authority and the Australian Defence Force is underway off the coast of WA. The authority says it's received distress calls from an Indonesian fishing boat 1,200 kilometres off the coast of Perth. An AMSA Challenger jet was used to drop 2 life rafts to the vessel. Australian authorities don't believe it's a people smuggling boat. 3 ADF jets have been involved in the operation, and the frigate HMAS Anzac's expected to arrive in the area this evening. Community groups opposing the sale of assets by Central Coast Council in New South Wales. Reserves, car parks, community halls are among the dozens of public assets earmarked for sale to recoup millions of dollars in debt. Jackie Pearson from the Community Environmental Network says there will be protests against the sale this weekend.
Unfortunately, rather than sell off the big properties that are likely to recoup more of the money, they've gone through and looked for lazy assets.
Australia's world number 1 tennis player Ashley Barty has missed the chance to advance to the semi-finals of the Italian Open after being forced to retire from her match against American teenager Coco Gauff. Barty has been in fine form on clay heading into the French Open, was leading the quarter-final 6-4, 2-1 when she pulled out with a right arm injury. ABC News.
The best of Grandstand podcasts are on offer right now. Dive deep behind the scenes of world sport with shows like the Phil Davis podcast. Listen to the Outer Sanctum team talk footy, but not as you've heard it before. Or pick through the burning issues of the A-League, W-League, Socceroos and Matildas with the Grandstand Football Pod. Visit ABC Sport online, wherever you get your favourite podcasts, and the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Lynch, he flies, can't come down with it, but gathers his own crumb and then picks it up quickly and kicks it to the top of the square. Dusty's there, he can't find the handle though. Good defensive work there by Arden, but Dusty found a way where no one else could, kicked it off the deck and fires through for his second.
Josh Kelly's all alone, marks between wing and half forward, turns, kicks long, Jesse's down there and he's got it again. Hogan takes the mark, but taken down after doing so. Yep, and he's going to be marched to the top of the goal square. No one comes with him to stand the mark, and this will be 4 in the quarter. A hurried kick out of the middle of the ground for GWS, picked up by Toby Green, hits up Bobby Hill, out on the lead. And he takes the mark here about 30 out right half forward to cash in on their dominance. Bobby Hill moves in. His drop punt is perfect.
Bolt up. He'll fire from just outside 50. Looks like it came off the side of the boot, so it's not going to trouble the scorers. Big defensive fist comes into the path of Graham. He leaves it behind, though, the North Adelaide boy. Butters up, though. Gets it inside. Here's Collier Dawkins on the left boot. He loves it.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
This is Grandstand AFL, and those were the sounds of the second quarter as GWS continued to pull away from the two-time reigning premiers. They kicked 5 goals to 3 in that quarter, so the Giants led by 9 points at quarter time. They led by 21 at the half. They twice led on 2 different occasions by a game-high 27 points in that second quarter. Jesse Hogan kicking 4 for the term. Dustin Martin has a couple for the Tigers, but boy, do they have some work to do. Quickly, in some news elsewhere, the teams for tomorrow. Just the highlight, Zaharakis in for the Bombers, Stringer and Cox, the 2 outs. Nick Cox has been managed, but he's listed as an emergency, so may yet play as the sub. Adam Chera's back for the Dockers. Reece Conker's been omitted. Meanwhile, at Melbourne, Sam Wiedemann's going to get his first start of the year, and we knew that during the week. Jackson had surgery on his finger. Melksham's been dropped. Murphy, Setterfield and Newman, the three begins for Carlton. Silvani out injured. Gibbons, Nunes and that Petrevski-Seaton omitted. In the game over in Perth, the Eagles and the Crows, we knew Tex Walker was rested. There's 4 ins, Chase Jones among them. Meanwhile, for the West Coast Eagles, McGovern and Barris both come back. Earlier today, the Lions by 73 over the Suns in the Q Clash. It was North by 7 over Hawthorn, their first win of the year. The Swans by 30 over Collingwood. And half-time in Adelaide, the Western Bulldogs lead Port by a point. Corbin Middlemass, Tony Armstrong, Jess Webster on the boundary. Our grandstand AFL experts, Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard. Just about all ready to go, Tone, for the start of the second half here. Pretty modest crowd, it must be said. They don't like playing here at Docklands, do they, the Tigers fans?
What do you reckon, they get lost?
It's a long way across the city, the dockside, but what do you reckon?
Disappointing crowd,
Give me a number.
17,500.
It's 5 degrees outside. They'd enjoy the MCG right now, or?
Yeah. It's a really good point, Beach.
How many are here, do you think, Lids?
21.
Beach?
I said 22 at the start of the game, and I reckon we're not far off it.
Okay, I'll give you a 22.
Corbin? I don't like that you wait for everyone else to have their guesses.
Does it all the time.
Oh, no, assesses the field. It's cheating.
23. Take the high. A few strugglers making their way in. Giants by 21 points. Second half action. Tony Armstrong, grandstand over.
It's Flynn v Nankervis. Flynn wins the tap straight down a hopper. He can't quite find the handle. We'll have a secondary ball up. We've lost it in the middle. As B just said, not where we're used to seeing him. So Nankervis wins this tap. Goes straight down the ball. Still in dispute. Collier Dawkins has it this time. Another throw up, still in the centre of the ground. Nankervis wins the tap straight down to Camden McIntosh. Leaves it behind, but then Baker eventually just hat kicks it forward off the left. First man to recover, there's Lynch. His right foot kick shot on goal is just wide. Minor score. Tigers kick it behind within a minute. 6-3-39 plays 9-5-59. We've played less than a minute in the third term.
Jess Webster's on the boundary for us. Jess, give me a crowd estimate. What number?
I reckon 23 too. Was it you who said that?
23.
Yeah.
I'll put you down for that. A long ball straight up the middle from Taylor. Out around the ankles of Short, who chops it off right on halfway for the Tigers. Hands it to Hawley. Sweeping hand pass to Collier Dawkins. Shanks the kick down to half forward. Buntine out to meet it. Well, then gave it to Ward, who wasn't looking up against the boundary line. Giants off half back. Hands it to Ash. Away to Taranto, through traffic to Hopper, to Buntine. They're almost through here, GWS. Kelly along the ground to Hopper. Hawley tackles him, spills to Hogan. He's drilled in the tackle from Vlosten. And a ball up just inside the boundary line in front of the Giants. Interchange.
Well, really good decisions from the Tigers there. They numbered off really well and then literally didn't give GWS a handball option out of that congestion.
Ward gathers the ball and gives to Kelly over the back of his head. Kelly tries to take a couple on, nothing doing. Good enough to get it back to Flynn, but his kick forward was pressured. Hooley, first man on the scene, gives to Grimes on the up. He goes inside to Baker. He kicks one along the deck. Buntine has to sit under it. Bang! Rewalt comes out and smacks him. Lynch, I should say. Well, it was Rewalt. I was right. Back yourself in time. Come on. Well, the ball up. Left half forward. Early jump, there's Nankervis. Straight down to Castagno, was tapped out of his hands as he went to kick. Now Ash gathers it, gives to Kelly. Goes back to Buntine, hits the belly of the ball, out of bounds on the full in between wing and half forward, broadcast side of the ground. 20 points the margin, 2.5 minutes into the third term.
Well, I think it's pretty evident what the Tigers have talked about half-time. It's their pressure is absolutely elite these first couple of minutes of this third term.
Here's Pickett. He actually made his debut against the Giants. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Down there is Lynch. Can't reel it in. Spills to Nankervis. He's locked up. We'll have a stoppage. 15 out from the Richmond goal.
That's a sore point, Corpse.
Fair debut. Up it goes. Flynn swats it down for the Giants. Last line of defence. Pack forms, and we'll do it all again. Still top of the goal square for the Tigers. As BJ mentioned it, hotter start, more intent from Richmond early stages, third quarter. From the restart, Dustin had it, and it's Martin. Hand pass went back into dispute. Still no clean clearance. Perryman's hand pass back into congestion. Arts is going to be locked up. Umpire lets it roll. comes out O'Halloran's way. Hand pass to Kelly, kicks out a defensive 50, Briggs up to meet it. The ruckman spills the mark, falls down to Himmelberg. Hand pass to Toby Green, who's off and running.
Arches the back, hooks the ball back inside looking for Hogan. He rises, can't take the mark. It gets over the back though to O'Halloran. He gives to Hopper. He chips forward looking for Bobby Hill, who snuck forward. He was belted as he tried to take the mark by McIntosh. And I reckon the free kick or the mark has been paid. It doesn't matter because he'll be lining up from 45 out about 30 metres in from the boundary.
That was very deliberate then for McIntosh.
Oh, yeah. Spoil with the body, as Dimmer would always teach him, but
spoil with the body.
Yeah, if you can't take the ball, make sure you take the body. But probably had a chance to nearly get it earlier, I reckon, with a handball over from Hopper. He just held on to it, which is not bad. Gives him that set shot, but probably would have seen him running in. No one would have caught him going towards goal.
There's a bit of luck there. That kick from Toby Green back in the corridor. That could have easily went back the other way for a score for the Tigers.
Bobby Hill lining up for his second. Comes off the instep. Won't make the journey either. The pack form. And something's happened off the deck here. Minor score, though. So, minor score there for the Giants. 9-6-60. Plays 6-3-39. 21 points to margin. 4.5 gone.
It's hitting the base of the post. His tone called it. One of the players tried to soccer it through and thought they were able to fool the goal umpire, who is up to it. Broad clears the defensive arc. A long ball down the City wing, and the Giants happy to see it out. It's Isaac Cumming who walks it over the boundary line. A throw in just forward of the wing for the Giants. 21 points their lead, early stages third term. Dogs lead the power by a point at half-time in Adelaide. Nankervis wins the head out close to the boundary line. Again, Cumming walks it over. Again, we'll have a boundary throw-in. Not happy, the Richmond fans. The 4 games they've won this year, 4-4. They've led at half-time in all of them. They're coming from a little way back here. 21 points, Giants lead for the boundary throw-in. Flynn down to Martin, somehow controlled the footy. Hat kick forward, but straight to Cumming. Marks back edge of the centre square for the Giants.
Kicks an absolute laser across the square, finds Hill. And he just chips a little one, looking for Whitfield. He left it behind, though. Swooping on the ball was Baker. He was wrapped up. Oh, he's been done holding the ball. I thought that was going to be for a high contact or something of that nature. Instead, Kelly has the ball right on the forward line of the square. Wastes no time, kicks to the right forward pocket, looking for the hot man in Hogan. Not having his eye on the ball there is Marlon Pickett. He got caught with his back to the play. And Jesse Hogan will be lining up for his 5th goal and the first goal of the second half.
That was a good decision. Saw the mismatch in the pocket and took full advantage of it. But I thought that was a good decision in the end. On replay, Baker actually turned, had an opportunity to get rid of the ball, and then tried to kind of slip under that tackle. So good decision, but I'm not backing Jesse Hogan with this one, I don't think.
Full of confidence is Beach. In comes Jesse Hogan. Just hooks it in the end, and Nankervis takes the mark on the second bite as the ball went across the goal. So Nankervis has the ball in the right back pocket, City side of the ground. GWS kicking to the Coventry end. The Tigers kicking to the Lockett end of the ground.
Oh, Nankervis tries to go short along the boundary line to Broad, puts it out on the full. So a little sloppy, and some repeat entries here for GWS. Toby Green is about 50 out, right up against the fence.
And backing himself.
This is going straight through the middle.
He looks for the extra metres and then has his kick smothered. A handoff from Broad on the way through. Spills to O'Halloran. Hand pass to Whitfield. Back into congestion. Spot falls to Asprey. Hands it to Baker. Clears the defensive 50. Trying to trap it. Taylor out to meet it, who's done a superb job on Lynch. Ends up trapping the ball as it rolls out of play. And a throw in just forward of the wing for the Giants. Still in their front half. 7.5 minutes into the third term. GWS by 21.
Briggs looking for front spot. V. Nankervis, City side of the ground. Briggs ends up winning the tap. Goes forward to Taranto. Bangelum beats them all, though, so we'll throw it back in. Pretty much the same spot as it was thrown in just before. In between wing and half forward. 21 points is the margin. Under the roof here at the Docklands. We're on the City side of the ground at the moment. GWS looking to extend their lead. Nankervis taps it straight down, leaving it behind. As Baker, eventually Whitfield gathers the ball, spears one inside to O'Halloran. He's got Green out the back in a one-on-one. Broad's there with him. It gets over the back. Green, almost got it through. Might have been tackled illegally too. Umpire didn't pay it, so minor score. 9-7-61 plays 6-3-39.
Toby Green is swarmed by the tackle from Broad, went straight into his back. A little slow to get up, just favouring his
knee right in the back of the calf.
Yeah. He's a little sore as he crouches down top of the goal square. Ball went out of bounds, half forward for the Giants. So from the throw-in, Briggs wins the tap for the Giants, but straight down to McIntosh, gives it to Pickett. His hand pass back into dispute. Here's Baker, hand pass along the ground for Graham to run onto. The Tigers off half-back. Hand pass back inboard. Castagna, slick hands. Rioli gave it to the ankles of Ralph Smith. Couldn't quite pick it up. They keep it going forward, though. Richmond knock on, surge on type stuff. Castagna out after it. Giants win it back though at the coalface. Taranto to Hill. Was he taken high? Cries for holding the ball. Neither. Umpire says ball up. Attacking edge of the centre square for the Tigers. Big stage of the game. Giants by 22 points. 10 minutes into the third term. Richmond trying to mount a comeback.
Briggs straight down to Taranto. One step kick forward. Misses Hogan. Asprey the recipient. He's kicked it off the side of the boot. He's shanked it as he goes across centre half back. Broad, first man on the scene, buffers some pressure, then kicks very short to McIntosh. The spoil falls back in the lap of Broad and he continues to play. Gives it to Baker. His forward kick's a stinker. The Giants eventually intercept it, but here comes Dustin Martin imposing his will on the play. His handball misses the targeting Graham. He tries to butter up, but he does in the end. Handball's over the top to Castagna. He busts through a few tackles and goes out very wide. Now the Tigers have it through short at right half forward.
So short with it between wing and half forward. Just kicks a cannon to the top of the goal square. Lynch has got it. Second grab, forward pocket, takes the mark, 15 out. Just loaded up Jaden Short. And Tom Lynch, knee in the back of Taylor, comes down with the footy.
I was questioning that decision when he went there. I thought he might have had Jack leading up straight onto his leg, but because he got good penetration on that off one or two steps and dropped it to 15 metres out, just to the advantage of Tom Lynch, and used Sammy Taylor just as a little bit of leverage get up.
What a record he's got as a Tiger. 2 seasons, 2 premierships. Tom Lynch moves in, hits the post. Gee, they needed that in the context of the game, Richmond. The post left shaking at the locket end at a minor score for the Tigers. Giants by 21, 11 minutes into the third term.
So, bring the ball back in as Perryman runs his full measure and then kicks it long down the line, looking for Briggs, coming across in front of the play. There was Vloss and he was dealt with. Inside handball from Bolter, went looking for Baker, but in doing so turned it over. Now Riccardi has it, gives it defensively. It's good work here by the Giants, arching the back. Look at him go there. It's coming. He kicks forward looking for Green. Works his way to front spot. That was clever. Tried to claim the mark in front of Asprey. Wasn't paid and eventually wrapped up. Lids, what did you see? We're going to have a throw up at right half forward.
I thought it was pretty damn good work to 2v1 to slip them both and get up and take the mark, but play on.
Umpire chucks it up. Mankervis knocks it away. Perryman run down by Castagna. Just squeezes a kick out. Flynn went to Shepherd. Graham collects the footy for Richmond. Flynn tackles him. Stolen by Tom Green. 60 out, half forward. Kicks the Giants to the top of the goal square. McIntosh hit from the side. Takes the intercept mark. Top of the defensive goal square. Giants by 21. 12 played third term.
Brings it back skinny side. Looking for Castagna. Finds him in the end. So back to the left back flank. Castagna with the ball, wheels, wastes no time, kicks long, looking for Rewalt. Back and plugging the hole there though was Flynn. He wastes no time, comes inboard and finds Lockie Whitfield. Centre of the ground. Looking to take the Giants into attack. Just a little one to centre half forward. Finds Toby Green. He wastes no time. It's a good kick too. Finds Lloyd on the lead up. So he takes the mark in front of Mansell and he'll be lining up. We'll probably have to strike it from about 49 metres out on a slight angle at left half forward.
The Tigers army and the coaches and the players will be flat if this goes through because they're arguably dominating the game. It's more the Tigers of old where the pressure around the ball, the forward surging. So just then a number of times Whitfield got a bit of space off Collier Dawkins and then Mansell.
Daniel Lloyd fires from 51. He's tugged it looking for the journey. Minor score. So the Giants extend their lead only by 1. 9-8-62, plays 6-4-40, 13 and a half minutes gone.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
Bad news for Harry Perriman. He came off to the bench, said, I've done my hamstring, went into the rooms, and Tanner Bruin looks like he's warming up and will be into the game as a medical sub.
It's bad news for Harry Perriman. Missed a couple of games with glandular fever so far this year. There's been an incident here, Tone.
Yeah, so
Halloran floored.
It's for a block. It's for the Shepherd, illegal Shepherd against Bolter, it seems. So a free kick, I think, from the top of the square is going to go to O'Halloran.
I think he's a bit stiff. He's come in to actually block, which is legal. He didn't, and as he went to lay some body, he's jumped and left the ground, so he's arguably tunnelled him. So, and I think he was too committed to pull out once he jumped.
I think also, because it was that one that's kind of behind on that back 45 where they're not looking as well. Anyway, I'm
not sure. Is there a rule? How is that a free kick?
I think they don't like it when it's kind of on the back shoulder.
Too rough.
No, seriously.
He's got a gift here, 15 out, right in front. Xavier O'Halloran dobs it. And GWS kicked the first of the second half. Somewhat against the flow of play. They lead by a new game high, 28 points. GWS 10-8-68. Richmond 6-4-40. The 28-point lead for the Giants midway through the third term.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't think there's anything in the rule book suggests that's a free kick. And he didn't, there's no malice in it. He just, there he go. He literally is like...
Oh, he has taken his legs out from under him.
Yeah, I know.
Not much more he could do other than catch him and cuddle him, could he really? But
so it's unfortunate, but yeah, the Tigers have dominated this quarter. GWS, admittingly, to their credit, stand up in the contest. They're doing their best just to stand up for it. Not necessarily matching it when Richmond win the ball, but they're doing their best to stay composed. They got through a number of times through that pressure and manic pressure. So
Lynch to a wing.
Lynch to a wing, that won't stay there for very long.
So back in the middle, Giants reload again through Hopper. Falls just short of Hill at centre half forward. Now we've got a ground ball. Pickett was good. He weathered some pressure and then gave the handball to Baker. Baker kicked it out wide to the city side of the ground looking for Naish. Kick didn't hit the target, but he had enough time. His long kick forward, well, in the end, intercepted. Nicely done there by Taylor. Read the ball better in the air and took the intercept mark.
Kick comes out wide to Riccardi. Touched on Isaac coming a little earlier in the night. The kick-out duties this year for GWS, and they've been a fine evening as Riccardi goes short to Tom Green, wants to take on Naish on the mark, just pulls the trigger back into the corridor. Buntine marks, swings it across to the other side of the centre square. Buckley takes the mark, plays on, puts the Giants down to a one-on-one. Lloyd and Pickett spoils, finds the safety of the boundary line. We'll have a throw in just forward of the wing for the Giants. So Tanner Bruin about to come into the game. Second time he's been the sub this year. Picked 12 in last year's national draft. Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, Harry Perriman has just emerged from the rooms, confirming it's a right hamstring injury, and Tanner Bruin standing on the interchange gates ready to come on.
Tom Lynch doing the ruck work, taps it down in the direction of Arts. He's wrapped up by Iden. So just forward of centre wing, broadcast side of the ground from a Tigers perspective. They're kicking to the Lockett end. We'll have a throw up. 28 points the margin. Lynch wins the tap straight down to Arts. Left foot kick around the corner. Only goes as far as Ash. He takes the chest mark. He's got options inside. Elects to use one of them in Hopper. He wastes no time. Spins and goes. Finds Hogan. He gives a handball. Puts Buntine under some pressure. He's good enough to buffer that and then kicks the centre half forward. The kick was pressured though, and eventually that turned it over. Intercept mark taken by Short, and the Tigers are away on centre wing.
Chance on the counter-attack. Naish to Ralph Smith. Short kick to Castagna. Marks on halfway. Hands it back to Paddy Naish. Goes on a run. Kicks down to half forward. Buckley out the mid. It slips through his hands. Cumming mops it up. Back pocket for the Giants. Kicks back into the corridor. Flynn slips over. Baker scoops. Hand pass to Dusty. Rolls back onto his right boot. Snaps his third. Keeps Richmond in it. And the Tigers trying to claw their way back into the game. Get it back to 22 points at the 18-minute mark of the third term. GWS 10-8-68. Richmond moved to 7-4-46. Martin with his third. Meanwhile, start of the third quarter in Adelaide, 2 minutes in, scores level between Port and the Bulldogs.
Well, Dusty's a recipient of it, but if that had found the GWS player, Dusty's man at about 15, 20 metres on his goal side. He would have come out to this side on the switch, and Dusty would have been, or he would have looked really silly because he would have had to try and chase him. But with a missed kick skill error that tried to hit Flynn in the corridor, it was the right decision. He just missed the kick from coming. You talked about him earlier being such a good kick, so he's got it in him. He just managed to miss it. Baker cleaned it up, and Dusty, who was caught arguably not working hard enough defensively, gets the end of it and kicked the goal.
So 22 points the margin, 19 minutes gone here. Collier Dawkins' kick was smothered, but Graham just picked it up off the deck and drives it long inside 50. Rewalt can't quite mark it, but at ground level, Castagna's there. He gives to Martin. Why wouldn't you? Gets rid of his tackler. Flying snap on goal. It's going to just fade across. Didn't quite hook it back enough, so minor score, but Tigers doing some of the attacking here. 7-5-47. Trails 10-8-68. 21 points the margin. Giants are up, 19 gone.
Whitfield now with the kick-out responsibilities. Giants by 21. Approaching time on third term. Whitfield goes on a long run and then kicks the ball long down the wing. Pack form, spills front and centre. Graham takes on the tackler, drilled in the tackle by Lloyd and caught holding the ball. Tried to walk it out of the stampede. That was never happening. And Lloyd wins possession for the Giants. Short kick back inboard to Tom Green, barely 15. And Green takes the mark up to possession number 23. Top 10 pick, another one of their academy products. He goes short to Cumming. Cumming will swing his kick all the way back to the back flank for Buckley. His dad's had a pretty good day at North with their first win. His father, the president at North Melbourne, or the chairman, goes out to Riccardi. Riccardi from the wing, kicks long inside 50. Bolter at the back, lands in his lap. Hand pass away to Arts. Tigers on the counter-attack. Hits up Nation half-back.
Good play here by the Tigers. Gives to Ralph Smith, who was running nicely. His forward kick down the line finds Lynch, but he's held up on the mark. In between wing and half forward. Hard up against the boundary. Eventually kicks in the Rewalt direction. He rises and takes the mark. It was a 2-on-1 and he went early. Eventually coming down with a strong grab. Rewalt will be lining up from about 51 metres on a 45-degree angle.
Now, it was that Jake Riccardi who probably would like his time again coming forward. As a defender, you like him coming forward.
Rewalt, instead of electing to shoot, he dropped it very short, hooked it inside and found Collier Dawkins, who will be lining up from a much fairer angle, almost right in front, about 40 out.
As I was about to say, Tony, he could have kept that in the front half there for the Giants, but chose to potentially mark. We saw Camden McIntosh before spoil with the body. He didn't take the ball or body, so they slipped straight past him.
In he comes, Collier Dawkins. Fires on goal. That's goal number 2 for him. And 2 on the bounce for the Tigers. They're back within 15 points. 10-8-68 the Giants. 8-5-53 the Tigers. 21 minutes gone in the third term.
Yeah, you're right, Luke. So they've had their time again. It's that contest on the far. So even if he gives away a free kick,
slows him down,
slows it down. They'll able to mark that, then get the overlap handball. Then it was good luck GWS defenders because Lynch and Rewalt had so much space. And then the second time they had another opportunity to kill that was when Rewalt took that mark in a contested mark 2v1. So it was Iden and I'm not sure who was actually standing in front of him. They've both got to do a better job. Either come back harder or Iden has got to get some body on Jack earlier, so he's not allowed to run and jump or get a free run at the ball. And then just as you were talking, I was going to say that I think this is beyond Jack, so GWS have to be concentrating here and onto that little short, 30, 40, 20, 15 metre kick or whatever it is, just to get an easy shot of goal. And fair enough, they hit up Collier Dawkins and he's slotted a really good finish.
Back to 15 points. It's taken them a quarter to get this close, and Collier Dawkins gets the centre break, kicks to centre half forward. They all miss it. The ball pitches, runs back towards Richmond's goal. Skidding through is Whitfield. Hand pass picked off. Ralph Smith to the top of the goal square. Buntine despoils it back towards the boundary line. Iden chases after it, wins it for the Giants. Hand pass to Kelly at half back. Long kick down the wing, but straight to Vlosten. Takes the intercept mark, City wing. Tigers with some momentum, down by 15 though.
Vlosten, short 45, found Graham, gave the handball to the overlap in short. He drives it long to the top of the square, almost taking the mark. There's Lynch, it's at ground level though. Ward, good enough to swoop in and give the handball out. Dusty though, rips it off a teammate, gives it to Arts. Arts with a flying shot. That's his second. And that's 3 on the bounce for the Tigers. They're right back in this one. 10-8-68. Plays 9-5, 59, 23 gone. 9 points the margin.
Well, I think we saw last week that the Giants, they struggled to stop a run on from the Bombers. They kicked 5 or 6 goals late in that game. So what have they learned from that? Can they slow the momentum here of the Tigers? They've got a bit of a run on here. The crowd's got behind them. You can hear it. They've met in the middle now, the midfielders. What are they going to do? Set up defensively? Do you start to slide someone back behind to give you a bit more surety? Sure enough, as I say, that Harry Himmelberg onto the wing, I can guarantee I know where he's going. Back behind the footy. Jake McCarty will slide up from half forward. So
it's come from the bench. We also saw young Tom Green actually go. He was the guy that came to the midfielders as a half forward and relayed a message or communicating to them. So you can see they're trying to be proactive and they've, you just said, got something organised. So as Himmelberg starts to slide back already.
3 in a row for Richmond. First time in the game. Nank wins the tap and then the footy comes to him. It's locked up. It's Hopper and Flynn got him in a standing tackle. Ball up again, middle of the ground. Giants by just 9 points now, having led it by as many as 28 earlier in the quarter. For the restart, spills out the Rioli. He's tackled, dispossessed. Kelly trying to draw a free kick, unsuccessful. Pat forms behind him and will do it all again for the third time in the middle of the ground. Another ball up. Giants by just 9 now, deep into time on in the third quarter.
Up goes the ball. It bounces, neither ruckman get hands on it. Hopper eventually wills his way into the contest, drives it forward, looking for Green, but back with courage was Asprey, running back with the flight of the ball, ends up taking a chest mark about 25 metres out in front of his own goal. He elects to kick it across his own goal towards the city side of the ground and finds Grimes, who continues the ball to right half back now. It's in Graham's hands. He kicks it to short, truly at right half back. Comes back to Grimes, barely 15, Toby Greenman's the mark. Richmond fans want 50, nothing doing. So Grimes sweeps it across goal, finds Vlosten. Vlosten's in the left back pocket. Tigers all by foot here. Not much run and gun, and they're still just outside their own defensive 50 with Broad.
Last time Richmond were this close was the 3-minute mark of the second quarter. As Broad goes long down the wing, Himmelberg in from the side, knocks it down, but straight to Arts. Queuing up front and centre the Tigers. 1-2 with Rioli. Arts alongside the centre circles, kicks to Lynch, who slips over. Out to meet it is Taylor. He fumbles too. Baker for the Tigers, front edge centre square. Hands it to Collier. Dawkins kicks inside 50. And Castagna takes the mark, centre half forward, 45 out. You did the game here last night, Lids. They've laid some new turf during this week, and there were blokes slipping around like an ice skating rink, and we saw again there Lynch and his direct opponent going down at centre half forward.
Well, we've had a lot of rain. That the roof open, have they called? Maybe.
Can I take you back to this contest here?
Yes.
GWS players have to know that Himmelberg's the +1. So they don't have to fly if their man doesn't fly. So there's literally, I think there was 4 in the end that went up against Jack. Jack playing his role as a tall forward, goes up, competes, and then there's 3 Richmond players on the ground. So that'll cost him.
Hasn't kicked a goal for 3 weeks, Castagna. What a time for that to change. Right to the goal line, he's on target. The question is, was it touched on the line?
Don't know.
The goal umpire over chat with the field umpire. We're headed up to the video, the arc, to confirm it. A goal has been called by the umpire on the spot. All clear. Does Briggs touch it before the line? It doesn't look like it.
So it's just to take you back, Himmelberg, there's an expectation that he's the guy that flies aerially every time. Yep. So GWS have to know that. And if he doesn't fly in that instance, then his teammates are actually then have to have a conversation with him. They have a conversation with him saying that's your role at that particular time to actually fly and provide a contest.
There's the roar, the confirmation from the arc. A goal for Castagna. They've kicked 4 unanswered, Richmond. They're back within 3 points. GWS 10-8, Richmond 10-5. Deep into time on third term. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio.
You're right, Beach. They're lining up there, and that's what the MO has almost been for the Richmond small forwards, is let your big blokes do their work, create that contest, and we'll just line up on the middle, and that's what they did. There was 4 of them there. Arts was the one who got a hold of it. Even had Basher Hawley streaming. He's like, mate, I'm not giving it to you on your right, Peg. I'm going on my right. Bit fortuitous in that Tommy Lynch has slipped over, but ended up finding a little one. The trip to Baker, play on, and away it goes forward to Jace Castagna.
They don't get that opportunity. The ball doesn't then come back to the corridor. If they're playing their role down here as defenders, playing on their smalls, and they rely on that +1 in Himmelberg, and he did fly in the end in his defence, but there's three other GWS players that went with him.
Back in the middle of the deck, it squirted its way out towards Lockie Whitfield at left half back. It was just all along the ground. He drives it long looking for Toby Green. He takes a mark in between wing and half forward, city side of the ground. Doesn't really look inboard, just looks forward inside 50. The kick's good, it finds Hogan. His arm was chopped. He made sure the umpire saw it. The arm was chopped by Hooley, and Jesse Hogan has it sort of 10 metres in from the boundary line. Left half forward will be kicking from about 51 metres out.
Tigers players can never do any wrong there with their supporters. It's all rubbish calls.
But it was in the action of spoiling the ball, wasn't it? So
in comes Hogan, runs his full measure. Elects not to fire on goal, just kicks to the top of the square. Only man there's Nankervis. He takes the intercept mark over Adelaide Oval. It's the Dogs by 12 points, 10-3-63, plays 8-3-51 the power.
Giants by 3 here. Nankervis long to half-back. Himmelberg flies for the Giants, can't complete the mark. Clever off the deck, Bolter just paddles it down the wing. Mansell picks up, spun around, hand pass out in front of Rioli. Has to get rid of Ash, close to the boundary line. Ash paddles it out of play, and a throw-in on the wing. We don't think there's that many here. A low crowd in, a rare home game at Docklands for Richmond, but boy, they're getting involved. They're riding this momentum with the Tigers. They've kicked the last 4 of the game. Within 3 points after the Giants led it by 28. Briggs in front, wins the hit out, earns a free kick. Hopper takes the advantage, gives it to Kelly. Surge kick down to half forward, angled at the boundary line. Grimes collects, he's dumped in a heavy tackle from Green. Umpire says play on. Vlosten stands up with a footy for Richmond.
So the ball now with Graham, he's under enormous pressure, buffers that. It was coming from Taranto. The ball ends up making its way back to Toby Green. Pushes, he kick, does it stay in? Doesn't matter. Short takes the mark in the left back pocket from a Tigers perspective. Sabasi's options inboard, doesn't like them, so just kicks long down the line. Rewalt's there, he edges Briggs out at ground level. Graham's there, Siren beats them all. What a quarter of footy we had. At half-time it was 6-2-38, the Tigers playing 9-5-59, the Giants. The Giants just kicked the 1 goal, that was O'Halloran. And it was 4 goals to the Tigers through Martin, Collier Dawkins, Arts and Castagna. So we go into three-quarter time with an absolute belter. 10-5-65 the Tigers. They trail by 3 points. 10-8-68 the Giants.
4 goals in an 11-minute burst for Richmond after trailing by a game-high 28 points. At the 18-minute mark of that third quarter, all of a sudden it's game on. The goal kickers, Hogan has 4, 1 to Toby Green, 1 to Tom Green, 1 to Ward, Kelly, O'Halloran and Hill. Meanwhile for Richmond, 3 for Martin, 2 for Arts and Collier Dawkins, and then 1 to Castagna, Lynch and Nankervis. Three-quarter time here at Docklands, Giants by 3 points. Meanwhile in Adelaide, the Bulldogs by 2 goals midway through the third quarter over Port Adelaide. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
For the latest sports results and stories from around the globe and at home, check out ABC Sport on our social pages. Just search ABC Sport wherever you scroll.
I'm continuing my quest for true love.
We all dream of finding the one. And it's not always easy.
I haven't been very lucky in love.
But in Love on the Spectrum, our singles are very determined.
I'll do whatever it takes to find a girlfriend.
What's your age limit?
70. From first dates to happily ever after.
She said yes. Excellent.
Love on the Spectrum.
Cheers to us.
The new season starts this Tuesday night on ABC TV and streaming on iView.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Paddy Nash goes on a run, kicks down to half forward. Buckley out the minute, slips through his hands. Cumming mops it up. Back pocket for the Giants. Kicks back into the corridor. Flynn slips over. Baker scoops. Hand pass to Dusty. Rolls back onto his right boot. Snaps his third. Keeps Richmond in it.
Short, he drives it long to the top of the square. Almost taking the mark. There's Lynch. It's at ground level though. Ward good enough to swoop in and give the handball out. Dusty though rips it off a teammate. Gives it to Arts. Arts with a flying shot. That's his second.
Taylor, he fumbles too. Baker for the Tigers, front edge centre square, hands it to Collier. Dawkins kicks inside 50, and Castagna takes the mark, centre half forward, 45 out. Hasn't kicked a goal for 3 weeks. Castagna, what a time for that to change.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
And all of a sudden, there's just 3 points in it. GWS 10-8-68, Richmond 10-5-65. The Giants led by 28 points at the 18-minute mark of the third term. It is three-quarter time. One injury concern, and that is Harry Perryman has been tapped out of the game with a hammy. So Tanner Bruin is in. The unused medical sub is Jack Ross. 5th time, by the way, in 9 rounds he's been the sub for the Tigers. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, three-quarter time.
Well, we think that surge of goals came off the back end of just immense pressure and dominance, especially in that first 10 to 12 minutes. I think GWS were doing as good a job as they could to stand up to it. They got through a couple of times. They got a gift in a goal, but it was really just a bit of a band-aid, a bit of fluff, because Richmond, it was, I said, the Tigers of old. Doesn't matter who your personnel is, I think, in those instances when the pressure's that intense. We saw Dusty get on the couple end of it and, draw a couple of guys to get a handball off, but really it was just a change of mentality. It was clear from the very start. I think their discussions at half-time was based around their pressure and intensity, in particular around the ball and that initial stoppage. And then from there, they surged. They managed to get some speed in the game through turnover from the half-back line. It's the first time tonight where GWS haven't been able to really slow them down. And so made mention in the first half, Lids, that there was no fluency to Richmond's ball use, and they happened to find it that quarter.
Yeah, I think it was off the back of getting back to their basics of outnumber at the contest and then spread from there. And I think that's what their small half forwards really focused on. Their ability to put pressure on some unlikely types running through there. Nick Vlossen, I can't remember the last time he's run through the midfield, but it just had that little bit of grunt in their bigger body. Knows how to compete. Collier Dawkins, well done to him as well, getting on the scoreboard for the second time in that quarter. I spoke about the marks inside 50 against Richmond in that first half. Only one given up there in that third quarter, which is obviously they've tightened up, but I think that's off the back of the midfield pressure.
And I was going to say it's a bit easier when the ball's in there.
When it's under the pump, isn't it?
It's in Richmond's forward half, so when the ball's not in the opposition's forward 50, defenders don't have to defend.
Yeah. I think they invited a little bit of pressure there, the Giants. Had a couple of opportunities early in that third quarter to really just get it on the boot, get it forward and get some territory, whether they're trying to create a little bit by hand, and that just invited the Richmond pressure. And then as they start swarming and coming in from all angles at you, that's when they start to really smell it and come in and really apply that pressure. If the Giants just smack it forward, give themselves a chance forward of the footy, they've got had Big Briggs, Toby Green, we've seen him outnumbered a couple of times and been able to create a contest. Harry Himmelberg down there as well. Just get it down there, give him a chance and get that field position on him, and then you can set up again. But stuff around with it and invite that Richmond pressure, goes back the other way, and that's what brought in their half forwards. And Dusty obviously playing up forward, created a couple of goal opportunities for him. So can the Giants start this last quarter really well? That'll be the key for them. There's a huge momentum shift there from the Tigers. We saw 6 goals almost kicked against them last week from the Bombers.
And they implemented that +1 behind the ball, so they were proactive with it.
Yep.
Got to a point, I think.
After a bit of a run on, though, it was a bit late.
That was 4 in a row, I think. There was a bit of a spell between the first, but at least they've been proactive. But now it's important, as you said, the start. It's an easy thing to say, but if Richmond come out with that same intensity, your only option is to match it or better it.
Yep.
Their best performing quarter this year, Richmond, is their final quarters. They're 6-2 in last terms. Can they finish over the top of the Giants, who lead it by 3 points? Final quarter action, Saturday night footy on Grandstand AFL. Breeks wins the tap down to Hopper. High up and under. McIntosh back with courage. There's a free kick, though, before all of that, and it's going to go to GWS. It's coming back to Taranto, who was taken out in the marking contest. Hand pass to Hopper, kicks inside 50. Nate got a hand on it, spills in the hot spot for GWS, skidding in Bruin. Hand pass to Briggs, quick hands Hill, chucks it on the boot. Bolter back as the goalkeeper takes the mark last line. Dangerous balls picked off. Xavier O'Halloran floats through and takes the intercept mark, as Bolter tried to flare it out to Ralph Smith at half back, and O'Halloran picked it off.
Well, dare I say it, we know what it does from this side, Beach. But this bloke, he's not in the team for the amount of footy that he gets, but he plays a really important role in their structure. That offside half forward adds a heap of pressure, and needs to be a nice icing on the cake if he can drop this one through.
Former Vic Metro captain, so a leader at a young age, from left half forward, tight angle, set shot, is left.
See it?
And it's a behind.
I saw it kicking off his instep.
10-9 to 10-5, 4-point lead for GWS, early stages, final quarter.
Boston dumps it to the left back pocket. Finds Short, who kicks very long. It's a shocker. Straight to Cumming, who played on. Hooks it back inside. There's those skills. He finds Baker. Sorry, Green. He found Green, and Baker tackled him. I thought it. Yeah.
Both pointed at the umpire trying to justify their action.
Yeah, I thought that should be 50. It wasn't paid. So Toby Green has the ball. He marked it right on the 50, right next to the logo. He's going to take his best effort, Lids.
It certainly will. I know that he's got every bit of confidence in himself to get the journey. He won't die wondering, Toads.
Which way does it go here?
Dead centre. Don't give up with goals.
In comes Toby Green, looking for his second. Gets a bit too close to the man on the mark. In the end, hooks it. But that doesn't matter because it falls fortuitously in Hopper's hands, and he takes a chest mark unopposed. It came off the instep, and he took the mark 25 out right in front.
Well, I think to everyone here watching at the ground, it looked like it'd been touched off the boot, but it was that bad a kick that it's gone. It's bled about 30 metres out.
Nearly missed his foot.
And missed the goals by about 25 metres.
So in comes Hopper, very important goal. He fires. It's good. The Giants draw first blood in the final term. And they kick back out to a 10-point lead. 11-9-75 plays 10-5-65. That's Hopper's first, and the Giants 11.
He's putting together a pretty handy game. Jake Hopper up to the 31 disposals already.
Well, he and Tom Green, what feels like, are having a real big impact on the game.
17 of those contested, 9 clearances already, and now the top of goal off on them as well. Not by design, I don't think, that play with Tobes, but poor Childers got to be in the right place. Hey,
just kick a talk.
You reckon?
Oh, well, if it's beyond you, everyone's got time to get back. What do you got to lose if you can't make the distance chaos anyway?
Yeah.
And if you miss hit it, like I said, it adds a bit of chaos. And if you get it, it's every chance. And he doesn't have to completely flush it because he's only kicking it from 55, 56 metres.
Kicked a big final quarter goal last week, Jacob Hopper, and one nice one here to start the final term. A 10-point lead again for GWS. Back in the middle, Graham's hand pass picked off by Hopper. Now Graham has another go. He's tackled, taken to ground. Middle of Docklands will have a ball up alongside the centre circles.
You kicked a big talk once, Beach, didn't you?
No, I can't remember. It was too long ago.
Briggs hooks it down behind. Hopper back through traffic. He's tackled, taken to ground. GWS over the last 2 years are 4 wins, 1 loss, and games decided by less than a goal. So they have been able to be on the right side of, more often than not, in these close run things.
Nankervis wins the ruck contest. Straight to Castagna, who left it behind. McIntosh has a crack. He's wrapped up by Kelly and Ward. We'll have another throw up. So a number of stoppages inside the centre circle, or inside the centre square, I should say. This one's going to go up inside the centre circle. Jumping too early there was Briggs, leaving it behind though. Taranto ends up tapping it forward, then Bobby Hill kicked it off the deck. It went forward, but Grimes took the chest mark on the bounce. So he takes the mark at centre half back. Hogan standing the mark, calling for a play on. Grimes taking his time. He's got Floston out wide if he wants him. Just runs his full measure, then kicks it high up and under. He kind of chipped it and got under it. Big fly comes from Cumming. The fist went inside, not where he directed it, to Baker. Now Baker's kick forward, looking for Rewalt. It's a one-on-one. And eventually the boundary line beats them all. Jack Buckley sitting in the back pocket of Rewalt there, pressuring him, and the ball goes out of bounds, right half forward for the Tigers, right on the 50-metre junction. The Tigers trail by 10. We've played 5 minutes in the final term.
Late in the third term in Adelaide, Dogs by 19 points over Port Adelaide. Boundary throw in, Nankervis whacks it down for Richmond. Spills to Hopper, tackled by Collier Dawkins, and a ball up. 45 out from the Richmond goal. Coming home to the Coventry end. Giants led this by as many as 28, approaching time on in the third. Now lead by just 10. Briggs wins the tap. Martin clever, paddles it to Baker's advantage. Hooks a kick into the pocket. Nash the target. Iden spoils it away from him. And a boundary throw in forward pocket for the Tigers.
Some of those Tigers fans are calling for a free kick from the boundary umpire, not the field umpire. They're one line, aren't they? In goes the ball. It went over the top of both ruckmen. Hopper gathered it, gave to Ward. He was tackled as he kicked. It went high and long down the wing. Himmelberg attacked it. He left it behind, and now on the deck and being paid holding the ball there, very, very stiff, was Collier Dawkins. He was wrapped up immediately. And so it's a free kick. Goes to Bruin, Tanner Bruin. On the ground, runs his full measure. Elects not to kick. He dropped the ball, ended up gathering it back. Gives it to Whitfield. He's wrapped up, holding the ball. Here come the Tigers. It's hot.
Collier Dawkins takes the advantage. Kicks to Nash, went straight through his legs. Collected by Martin. Turns, kicks inside 50, turns it over. And Bruin takes the mark at halfback for the Giants. Picked 12 in last year's national draft. Not a heap up ahead. Long contest kick down the wing. Up strong Flynn. Punch comes over the back from Bolter, and out of play it goes. Right alongside the interchange gates.
Bloodwood.
Jess Webster's on the boundary. Jess.
It looks like I think it's Nankervis who's coming to the bench just with a bit of blood coming from the nose there, so no doubt he'll get patched up and get back out there right away.
So Marlon Pickett's going to be rucking here, opposed to Flynn, giving away significant metres in that matchup for the boundary throw-in. Flynn palms it down, but the Tigers race away with it. Baker away to Graham, gives it to Arts. Long kick inside the forward 50. Buckley up strong, takes a great intercept mark. At centre half back, he's had a superb night, Jack Buckley.
Great grab by Buckley. Measured kick, just went wider still, found Iden. Back to Buckley, he's at the top of his own goal square. Iden works for him. Got a monopoly on the footy, these two boys at the moment. Back to Iden in the left back pocket. He plays on. Got him one-on-one down the line. He goes in that direction. Might have gone out of bounds. No, it was touched off hands, out of bounds. Flynn works for front spot. Tom Lynch spoiled it, so we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward for the Tigers. Broadcast side of the ground. They trail by 10 points. The Giants kicked the first goal of this term through Hopper.
Just feels like Richmond's now just tighten the screws a little bit, making it harder for GWS to actually move the ball, particularly out of defence.
From the throw-in, Taranto had it, lost it, and the tackle up says play on. Baker through traffic, surge, kick forward, too wide out on the full. And out it goes, 40 out from the Richmond goal. Free kick Giants.
They just need to withstand this and then just keep grinding away. Keep your structure here forwards and tall forwards in particular know that they're under pressure. So get down the line, expect that long kick down the line, create a contest and just reset and go again.
Buckley short to Taranto. Taranto marks halfback long to Himmelberg, who's up and marking onto the shoulders of Jake Arts. Takes a nice hanger on the wing.
Himmelberg drives it long down the line. Contest ball. Hogan did well to get a fist on it. And out of bounds it goes. Just forward of the interchange gate. From a Giants perspective, official attendance 18,798. Who was closest?
Someone had 17,000.
Oh, that might have been me.
Perfect segue.
In goes the ball. Flynn taps it over the back looking for Kelly. Swooping in though was Arts. Did really well. Was on all fours and got up. Kicked it forward. Not 15 says the umpire because Lynch had the ball. He's tackled immediately by Ash. We'll have a throw up. Just in the attacking end of the logo broadcast side of the ground from a Richmond perspective. 10 minutes gone, they trail by 10 points.
Big W for T. Armstrong and guess the crowd tonight. A little below par from what we're expected from Richmond fans. Marlon Pickett goes dancing through the traffic and then kicks long inside 50. Rewalt the target. Fist came from Buckley. Rioli tackled, dispossessed, top of the goal square. Umpire circles, still play on. Comes out the back door. Buckley's way, almost lost his strides. Hand pass to Riccardi. Hooks a kick out to half-back, but it's chopped off. Graham collects for the Tigers, straightens up, and Baker takes a strong mark in front of Bruin. And Liam Baker decides to play on, looking for those extra metres, slips as he kicks, it's off target, Rewald on the line, can't pull it down. And through it goes for a minor score. Giants lead cut to 9. 11-9 to 10-6 behind for Richmond. 11-minute mark of the final term. GWS by 9 points.
It's getting tight. Whitfield has the footy. He's got the kick-in duties. Just walks out of his goal square to the right-hand side of the ground, the city side of the ground. He drives it long. Hogan's there in the contest. Off hands to McIntosh. He just slapped it forward. Rioli's there. A couple of efforts. Can't quite find the handle, though. Tanner Bruin can. He handballs out wide. Might have been high contact. It was. Free kick to the Giants. It was high contact on Flynn. He had to bend over to gather the ball, and Naish got him high. So he gives the ball out wide to Taranto, and he kicks a very, very short one. Finds Lloyd in between wing and half-back, city side of the ground. It's the Giants by 9. 11.5 minutes played in the final term.
Three-quarter time in Adelaide. Bulldogs by 19 over Port as Lloyd kicks it straight into McIntosh on the mark. Ball ricochets out of play and a throw in half forward for the Tigers.
It's fair to say the momentum's with Richmond, but as I said before, they've got to keep withstanding this pressure and this forward half game from Richmond and just keep grinding away the hard way. And if something easy comes out, if they get a bit lucky, then so be it. But do it the hard way.
Giants by 9. Lloyd from the stoppage gets the clearance, bangs it to centre half forward for GWS. Kine bounce Hogan, look away, hand pass, Hill went without it, spills to Toby Green, pokes the pass into the partner Bobby Hill, who runs onto it and takes the mark right forward pocket for GWS. He'll kick from 25 out. No, he won't. He retreats. He goes back to Lloyd, who takes the mark right half forward. 45 from goal. A little straighter, but further back.
Well, it was Lloyd who got the big torpy going forward. Initially, Jesse Hogan read it really well. Got a nice bounce. Probably could have held on to it a bit longer. Tried to get that quick handball off. Missed. But it was just that nice little touch kick from Toby Green over to Bobby Hill. Didn't like the angle. Back square back to Daniel Lloyd. This bloke is a very nice kick of the footy. No one was him, but he is a beautiful kick.
He'll have to kick it all of 50 from outside the arc. Lloyd pulls the trigger. It's on target. Has it got the trip? He's happy with it. It's a goal. Another momentum shifter for GWS. They lead by 15 points. 13 travelled in the final term. For all Richmond's hard work, they're still down by double digits. 13 played final quarter. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, well, nothing to show, but complete dominance by Richmond. There's that bit of luck where the talk comes out. It was actually gave them half a chance because ball to the ball is 2v2. At least Richmond weren't able to create a +1. So credit to GWS. They're actually engaging all their direct opponents and making the Richmond defenders accountable. And then there's that bit of luck with the bounce, and then they cleaned it up after that. But for the dominance that Richmond had this quarter, which if you've got an inside 50 stat there, lads, because I can't quite see, but it's heavily weighed towards Richmond, I would have thought. Yep.
We'll come to that.
Oh, yeah. Tech issues.
Oh, I was looking at Corbs there thinking he was going to say something because I was pointing at it anyway. Dustin Martin gathers the clearance and drives it long inside 50, looking for Rewalt. He can't find the handle, can't take the mark. It's at ground level. There's a number of Tigers in there. And the umpire pings holding the ball against Mansell. So pretty stiff on him. He was first man on the scene and wrapped up immediately. So Buntine has the footy.
I had the number beach, but as you say, you just go by feel. The numbers don't quite back up exactly that, but the ball has been trapped in Richmond's front half. So, but the numbers don't necessarily reflect that.
You enjoyed saying that there, I reckon, Corby. The ball comes to centre wing, and then a quick hurry kick out of that contest, went towards the logo, and back with courage was Briggs, took a mark into oncoming traffic. He then dumped it wide out towards the boundary, found Hogan, who took the mark, and then he elects to go back inboard inside the centre of the centre square. Found Iden, big sweeping kick to the city side of the ground now, centre wing. Lockie Whitfield has the footy. He just kicks it forward, finds Lloyd, the most recent goal kicker for the Giants, in between wing and half forward. Slower, deliberate play now. Big long kick inside 50. Big fly from Himmelberg comes off hands. Toby Green's in there. He's immediately wrapped up by 3 Tigers. Richmond fans baying for ball, not going to get it. So we'll have a throw up, 35 around from the Giants' goal. They lead by 15 points with 15 minutes gone.
Inside 50s this quarter, 6-4 Richmond's way, but The majority of the play has been in their front half as Briggs wins the tap. Hand pass from Collier Dawkins picked off. Hopper scoops, hooks the kick across the body from 40 out. He's missed the whole set. It's out on the full.
And it's good to know that because you get complete feel of the game. That's why we don't refer to stats very often, Lindsay, because if you're watching the game and you've got a good feel for the game, Richmond are in complete control of this game, and their numbers just don't reflect that.
Grimes takes the kick out, takes some extra metres, goes long to Rewalt, who's been well blanketed tonight by Buckley. Free kick for a high tackle against Rewalt. Over the shoulder on Buntine, and he's going to get the free. And Matt Buntine to take it just forward of halfway. All of a sudden, desperation belongs to Richmond. They had all the momentum going in at three-quarter time. The Giants, against the trend, have kicked the only 2 goals of the final term to lead by 15. As Buntine goes long out towards the pocket. Hogan up in front. Can't come down with the footy. Hawley goes back by hand to Asprey and now back to Grimes on the last line.
His only option really is Short. He ends up going there. The kick's good. So Short has the ball right back pocket. Runs his full measure and then looks for Hawley. Hawley didn't think it was for him, and in the end it went over his head. Cummings attacked the ball hard, Cummings, and then he was just belted by a couple of players in Hawley and Rioli. But he weathered that storm, held it in. We'll have a throw up between wing and half forward, broadcast side of the ground. Flynn wins the tap straight down to Taranto. His kick only goes as far as Hawley. Gives inside to Pickett. Now the Tigers stream forward again, looking for Lynch. He goes, he gets it, gets rid of his opponent, and gets over the back. That was Taylor Lynch. He fires on goal. Is it good? No, not quite. Couldn't quite straighten up. The pressure came from Iden. Minor score. But Lynch did well to get rid of his opponent and generate a scoring shot. 14 points the margin now. 12-9-81 the Giants. Plays 10-7-67 the Tigers. 7.5 gone in the final term.
So time all of a sudden becoming an issue for Richmond, down by more than a couple of goals as Cumming goes short to Ward. Chips to centre half back. And the mark taken by Hopper. It's up to 54 disposals, 11 clearances and a goal. Goes on a bit of a run and then kicks along to a contest on the City wing. Broads up marks. Managed to get away from Toby Green and takes the mark on the logo. Broad short to Asprey. Still against the boundary line City side. He lays it off by hand to McIntosh. Turns and kicks hurriedly inside 50. Rewalt the target. Spills ground level. Rewalt has another crack. Chucks it on the boot. Creates something out of nothing for the Tigers. Rewalt with his first of the night at a crucial stage. 19 played final quarter. Giants lead cut to 8 once more. Richmond 11-7-73, GWS 12-9-81, 19 played final term. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL.
Well, Jack Buckley's done such a good job all night, hasn't he? He's fought manfully against arguably a little bit bigger, definitely more experienced player. Just shows the class of big Jackie Rewalt. Picks it up, knows where the goals is, didn't even look at it, jams it through. Had their opportunity to probably create a contest out there on centre wing. Toby Green just lost his footing. Well marked by Nathan Broad. Swings it back around and just keeps that forward pressure on. Getting it back inside your front half. Putting the backs, and those young backs of the GWS under pressure.
So it's still on this game. 8 points the margin, 19 minutes played. GWS with the clearance through Ward. It goes to centre half forward. Kelly's there, off hands, he butters up, he's bumped off it though by Grimes. The ball kind of bounced back to Kelly, and then ripping it out of his hands was O'Halloran, and he was immediately wrapped up by a couple of Tigers. The fans bay for ball, nothing doing, so we'll have a throw up. Just inside the forward 50 for the Giants. They lead by 8 points. Up it goes. The tap goes straight down to Kelly. His high and up and under goes to the top of the square. Back with courage was lost, and out of nothing, Bruin. He just ripped it off the front of the pack. Had a flying shot. Came on as the medical sub did Tanner Bruin. But minor score. Just sprayed his kick. So 12-10-82. Plays 11-7-73. 9 points to margin. 20 minutes gone.
Tigers come dockside. Vlosten marks the kick out. Goes long down the wing. Rewalt crashes the pack. Spills though down to Hopper. He gets a hand pass to release Ash, who goes on a darting run. Ash kicks for an unguarded goal square. Backing back Asprey. Cuts it off. Marks top of the defensive goal square for the Tigers. Now they come out city side. Kicks to McIntosh. He turns and goes long to a one-on-one on the wing. Rioli's up. Rioli pulls it down. Hand pass inside to Graham. Up over halfway the Tigers. Links up with Collier Dawkins. Now to Hooley who fumbles. Flynn in the other direction. Collects for the Giants. Spun around. Gets a hand pass away. Straight to Collier Dawkins. Kicks to the top of the goal square again. Buckley's back.
Oh!
Punching it through. It's been socket on the line. Dustin Martin tried to make his ground late. He took out the goal umpire, trying to sock the ball through on the line. The goal umpire and Martin collide. Was the ball over or not off the fist of the Giants defender? Jess Webster on the boundary.
Yeah, Josh Kelly came running to the bench with a dislocated finger. 2 doctors have tried to put it back in place. It was not pretty to watch. I think he's okay and he'll return shortly.
Who was the player, sorry?
Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly. A dislocated finger. We're going up to the arc, so you know the rules here. All the ball has to be over all the line. Did Martin get a toe poke on this?
But is his...
What if he just has? But it's hard.
Yeah, but what if his foot's still on the ball when the ball's completely over the line? Then it's
he hasn't
touched.
He hasn't completed the kick.
Yeah, he hasn't completed it. So it actually, in all seriousness, looks like that. I know it's only a split second, but it's like there's a part of the ball that's still on the line. It touches his foot, but then his foot hasn't come off the ball.
Dustin Martin
before it goes behind the line.
Dustin Martin is making the goal umpire signal himself, which is something you don't often see.
He's trying to buy it. Mate, that doesn't help the arc.
This is where the issue is, because the umpire's call, like for him to make him, he's done his shoulder.
Oh no! So Dustin Martin, after soccering that through, you heard the commotion, collided with the goal umpire, and the goal umpire is going to be subbed out of the game. So the goal ump's done with a bum shoulder.
Jeez, they changed him quick though.
Here we go, score review. The crowd will tell the story. It's umpire's call. It's a goal. It's a goal for Dustin Martin. A 4th for Dusty. And a huge turning point in the game. Martin paid the goal. Richmond within 3 points. The goal umpire's coming out. And GWS lead it by just 3.
Well, there's my issue, because for the umpire to make a split second decision right then, it's so hard. Like, he's under the pump, he's got Dustin Martin running towards him, he's got, I think it was Taylor running towards him. Like, that's why I think for mine it must be left to the arc to make the decision, right? Because they got I think they got a better judgment and could make a clearer decision based on actual facts and vision in that instance there. So, and for mine, it's not conclusive that it is a goal, so it has to be behind.
Jess Webster on the boundary.
The goal umpire was getting cheered off by the Richmond fans as he went down the race to get further assessed. It's not something you see every day.
Back in the middle of the ground. Can't quite get out of there. It's Collier Dawkins, but there's a free kick. It's in the back against Hopper. Tigers fans have lifted. They've found their voice. Waste no time. Just drives it inside 50. Big Lynch is there. He flies. Can't quite take it. Off hands. Oh, Hooley's up forward. Gives the handball over the back to Martin. Iden comes there with pressure. Fans claim out of bounds on the full, as do a couple of Tigers. We'll have a throw in deep in Tigers territory. They've kicked the last 2. They're coming home with a wet sail.
Now, I don't keep notes on the goal umpires, but I'm reliably informed it's the same goal umpire that was involved in that incident up in Brisbane. So loves putting his body on the line, for those of you that saw those pictures during the week where he almost had to block Matt Taberner out of the way for a goal review decision up in the game between Brisbane and Freo. Ball up inside the forward 50 for the Tigers. Hooley hand pass out to Rewalt. Graham collects, gives it to Lynch, snaps, misses. Near side or behind for the Tigers. Giants lead cut to 2. It's as close as Richmond have been in the game since the opening quarter. GWS by 2, 25 played, final term. Noise bouncing off the roof. There's only 18,000 in, but boy, they're all involved now.
Whitfield goes to the right back pocket, finds Ash. He's just trying to get this out of there. He drives it long to centre wing. Grimes over with the intercept grab. Gives to Collier Dawkins. His kick way too short to Baker. It's turned over now. Here come the Giants through Tom Green. His handball picked off by Grimes. He gives to Rioli. No good. Turned over again. Tom Green gets it back to Cal Ward, but there's been a free kick pulled out behind the play, and it's going to go to Grimes at left half forward.
Do we know what that's for? Did you see anything then?
I didn't see it.
28 points was the deficit. Approaching time on in the final term. How much Richmond trailed this game by. A long kick from Grimes, just puts it to the hot spot. Rewalt tries to bring it ground. Cumming punches it back in the other direction. Martin races out after it, collects it half forward, shakes a tackle, shoots to the top of the goal square, it won't have to trip. Kine bounce for Lynch, out after it in the pocket. Lynch is tackled, runs out of room. Buckley walks it over the boundary line. And a throw in forward pocket for the Tigers.
This is great. Tigers have obviously got the momentum again, but GWS are literally doing their best just to trying to stand up. All the numbers are in Richmond's forward half. They managed to get the ball here to slow it down and get into a long kick method.
Straight out of the ruck there was Flynn. His kick forward was partially smothered, so the first man there was Graham. He got the ball out to Ralph Smith. He eventually got it out to Short, who flicked it out wider again to Rioli. Rioli kicks it about 3.5 metres back to Ralph Smith, who tried to claim the mark, and then he ran out of bounds. So we're going to have a throw in. The man with the mullet. So we'll have a throw in right on the junction. Over in Adelaide, 14 points the margin, 12-6, 78 plays 10-4, 64. It's the Bulldogs in front.
From the throw-in, Nankervis palms it down. Lloyd hands it to Whitfield. His kick smothered. Ward eventually clears the area. Bolter with the punch, knocks it back towards the boundary line, and out of play it goes. 70 out from the Richmond goal. Boundary throw-in right half forward.
They're going to have to do it the hard way, GWS. That the pressure around the ball is too immense from Richmond. They're set up behind the ball, so someone's going to have to take a contested mark. And then that's the only way they're going to really get their hands on the ball at the minute.
Boundary throw in, Nankervis tries to grab it out the right, caught by Flynn. Ball spills down to Arts. Hand pass to Baker. Kicks inside 50 for Richmond. Lynch the target, punched away from him. Taylor did well. Loose footy off the deck. Cumming hands it to Lloyd. Chucks it on the boot. O'Halloran back into defensive 50. Takes the mark, left half back for the Giants. GWS by 2. 28 played final term.
That could have gone anywhere from Lloyd. Eventually it fell in the hands of O'Halloran. He took his sweet time and kicked to a huge pack at centre wing. Off hands though, Broad has the ball. Just punches it back to whence it came. It's a high up and under. Oh, getting rid of his man there was Rewalt. He gathered the ball and then gave it inside. Oh, a cruel bounce to Whitfield. It fell in the hands of Rioli and he makes them pay with a left foot snap. And you wouldn't believe it, but the Tigers are in front. 13-8. 86 plays 12-10-82. A fortuitous bounce, and Daniel Rioli with his first of the evening makes the Giants pay. They're up by 4 points with 28 minutes gone.
I reckon if you finally get that mark, it was under the pump. Zabo O'Halloran, it's going long down this line. The Giants boys got to realise you don't try to stretch the ground at this point in time. It's going long, outnumber. The Tigers boys read it. They all got there. And that's hence the reason why they win it back and it goes back inside forward 50. This crowd is awful loud, isn't it? Because you can hardly hear yourself speak. For 17,000, they are up and about, the Tigers fans. And the Richmond boys are absolutely riding that wave.
Of course, it's Daniel Rioli, 4 kicks for the night in the final term. The story at the start of the week. Can he put the full stop on things at the end of it? Richmond back in front. 4 points up. Flynn palms it down. Ward for the Giants. Hands it to Whitfield. Back to Ward. Ward in the centre of Docklands. Kicks wide. Whitfield fell over. He's looking a little sore in the middle. Hooley into it for the Tigers. Coming off the wing. Forces the neutral ball in the tackle with Ash. And a ball up on the edge of the centre square. Between wing and half forward for the Tigers. Richmond by 4. Half-hour mark, final quarter.
Up it goes. Flynn tries to spike it forward. Only goes as far as McIntosh. Breaks the tackle and then drop kicks it forward. Ash is going to be the first man on the scene at right half forward for the Tigers. Gives the handball over his shoulder. Good work here. Lloyd has it back to Kelly. He just kicks it forward, looking for Hogan. Getting rid of him though is Bolter. Oh, how the tables have turned. Bolter takes the contested mark just behind centre wing. Slows it down. We've ticked into 30 minutes played in this final term. Can't be long left. 4 points the margin for the Tigers. He drives it long, looking for Lynch. Baker with a 360 spin out of trouble. Left foot kick to centre half forward. Looking for Rioli. Can't take the mark. This lets the Giants in. Ward through the middle. And the Giants are away.
Whitfield hands it back to Ward. And then Ward's hand pass to Hopper. Pressure from Graham. Here's the swarming Tigers. Baker at half forward. Hand pass to Hooley. Kicks for Lynch. Standing tall Taylor. Back last line of defence, courageous intercept mark for the Giants. Can they get the orange tsunami going? Out to Buckley on the back flank. He kicks down the wing. Pickett involved for the Tigers and just takes it straight out of the hands of Whitfield. Fumbles it out of play. And a throw in right on halfway, City wing. Half-hour mark, final term. Richmond by 4.
I'm not sure. I know the pressure's immense, but GWS aren't helping themselves now, compounding the issue there, playing around with the footy in the middle. Callum Ward, the fumble, which you don't see from him very often. Then he's got an opportunity facing goals to kick it, get it forward, and give their forwards an opportunity.
Then Curvis got it out of the ruck, got it to Pickett. He cut a swathe through the pack and then drove it long, looking for Lynch. He got over the back, but Lynch does really well, beats a couple of Giants and gathers the ball, eventually turns it over through Iden. He kicks a long contested ball at centre-half back. Hogan came from nowhere. The forward handball came from short. It ended up going to Kelly. Kelly just hat-kicked it sort of forward a little bit in the Hopper direction. He tried to mung it forward as well. Broad was resolute in his attack on the footy. He kicks it to right half forward. It bounces over a couple of players. Rioli's in it again. Gives it Don't Argue. Sells some candy inside. Cometh the moment. Cometh the man. Dustin Martin fires. Hooks it.
What about the two bounces that the GWS players have got?
Straight to Rioli.
I know they've been unlucky, but clearly Richmond have dominated this last quarter. So you'd say it's unlucky in some sense, but at the minute they probably haven't capitalised on their dominance this quarter.
13-9-87 plays 12-10-82. 5 points the margin with only a few minutes left to play.
Iden long straight down the pipe. Bolter punches it out to half forward for the Tigers. Lynch first one there, knocks it to Baker. 1-2 hand pass with Graham. The second one missed Baker. Invites Ward in. Half back gives it to Buckley. Away to Cumming. Here comes the wave. Gives it to Himmelberg. On to Hill. Kicks deep. Toby Green one out in the cage. In a tangle. Ump says play on. Floston clears the area. Kicks it wide. Kicks it to the boundary line. It's deliberate. GWS footy at left half forward, 70 out. O'Halloran's going to take it to put it back into a crowded forward 50. Richmond by 5. Drives it deep on the goal line. Taranto can't finish. The goal saving effort from Grimes. Taranto tried to kick it along the ground. Grimes was back and knocked it through for a rush behind. Now he's cramping, and a minor score is all the Giants had to show for it. Richmond lead by 4. 33 played final term.
Well, they needed to man up. Short dumped it to the right back pocket. He found Vlosten. Time's going to beat the Giants, you sense, unless they turn this over. The long kick to centre wing in the Rewalt direction. The fist came. It stayed in. That's fortuitous for Richmond. And over the boundary line it goes, so we'll have a throw in, true centre wing. It's the Tigers up by 4 points. They've come from nowhere. They've kicked the last 3 goals of the match, and they're in front by 4 points in the dying stages.
Boundary throw in. Nankervis can't grab it out of the ruck. Spills down to Baker. Chucks it on the boot. And what a typical Richmond win. Backs against the wall. Down in play. Controversy at the start of the week. They kicked the last 3 of the game. The last to Dan Rioli. And 4 more points to the Tigers. They keep their head above water at 5 and 4. Most of the night, the Tigers, it was GWS by 9 points at quarter time, 21 at the half. They led by 28 points at the 18-minute mark of the third quarter, and then Richmond came at them. They kicked 8 of the last 10 goals. The Tigers, 8 of the last 10, a superb turnaround. Richmond winning by 4 points, 13-9-87. GWS 12-11-83, a 28-point margin. Wasn't enough. The 2-time reigning premiers back in the winners list. They go 5-4. GWS now 4-5. What a fascinating night under the roof at Docklands. A rare home game here for the Tigers. They kicked the last 3 of the match. They were 15 points down at the 13-minute mark of that final quarter. Richmond win by 4. I'm sure we're going to be talking about arcs in the post-match. Of course, Dustin Martin's socket goal on the line took out the goal umpire. The video showed that really it was inconclusive. They went with the goal umpire's call, who put his body on the line for the whole episode. In the end, he was left out of the game with a sore shoulder. Dustin Martin was given the benefit of the doubt, as was the ruling of the goal umpire on the spot. And in the end, it's a game decided by just 4 points. Very small margins. Tigers winning. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard. What a night here at Docklands.
That's why you come to the footy, right? There's only 18,700 people that witnessed
a great game.
A great game of footy. So you'd argue that it was reasonably low scoring in the end. We're probably used to the old 100 mark being the benchmark. But entertaining. GWS can walk away really happy. I thought they were really vulnerable to a real lull tonight, but credit to them. Coming off a couple of wins, getting back to 4-4, that they took it up to, which is now a pretty youngish kind of Richmond team that were desperate for a win. So let's take nothing away from GWS and their performance tonight. So, but just weren't able to hang on then when the wave came from Richmond. And you made mention last week, Lids and Corbs, I think just about the number of goals that Essendon were able to score last week with their inability to stop it and to go to something. You saw them trying to implement a couple of plans tonight with a +1 behind the ball, and arguably it was a little bit too late when they'd already kicked 4 in a row, but at least there was something there. They were trying to be proactive. So, but they just couldn't get the job done. And then that last quarter, again, the inside 50 stats I tried to get earlier didn't reflect the dominance of Richmond. Their pressure after half-time, their pressure and intensity around the ball, playing the forward half game, locking in, re-entry, and like a gallant fright from GWS just to hang on for as long as they did, because the floodgates, in my mind, probably early in the year would have broken a lot earlier and Richmond would have went out comfortable winners. But look, Dusty, again, a dubious decision. For mine, and I said it's just not clear cut. So I don't think you can give the benefit of the doubt towards a goal, and that's when the goal umpires put in that position for him to make it all rides on his kind of literally split-second decision. He's got Dustin, I think, again, it was Taylor running toward, he's got a million things running through his mind, and for him to go, I think it was a goal. Yeah, he could easily just go,
he's the closest bloke, though.
Yeah, I know, that's right. So it's still.
Why don't we just go back to that?
Still left a human decision. Well, I know, but I think just now that you got an option to go get more information, let's do it. But I just think then it should be, because I would say you can't tell me that whether that was a goal or point. He's well within his rights to go, I actually don't know. So leave it up to the arc. So, but great finish. Just was intense early. Lids, I don't know what you thought about your old mob in GWS tonight, but it was a
gallant.
It was a gallop, but it was a vast improvement when we last saw them live and did their last game against. It's a completely different style of football.
Yeah, definitely a lot faster. They still defend pretty well, albeit the floodgates opened up a little bit at times, which happens. And I think a lot of coaches probably struggle with that, being able to wrestle back momentum.
It's always a discussion how to club level.
How do you do it? We try and play kick mark a little bit, but then you've got to be able. Teams are so good at. No one falls asleep anymore, and if you do, you get crucified. So you don't just find someone napping and pick your way through and then get it down for a shot on goal. But the thing that impresses me with Richmond is everyone's ability in critical contests, one, to either win it or they make great decisions with it. You don't see, like that time when you made mention of a beach in the middle of the ground, Cal Ward, rarely see him fumble, but then there's a couple of others just in there that they had their opportunity to just go forward with it, get it going forward, put them on the Richmond defenders under the pump, and that's what the Richmond defenders and midfielders did to the young GWS backs. Kept just pumping it in, put them under the pump and test them out and see whether they can hold their nerve when the ball's coming in so quickly. But
that's why I thought maybe Cal and a couple of those older guys in GWS realised the situation, because at that particular time, in the past, myself and the other mids in the team would be talking about, in this instance, mate, Richmond's pressure's like red hot, so let's not stuff around with the ball. You've got an opportunity facing the goals, just get it forward, because we've got equal numbers, because GWS did a really good job of making Richmond's defenders accountable and not getting that +1, which they generally always get somehow, of dumb forwards rolling up too far or young forwards or whatever it may be. But it's a understanding the situation, and they still managed to they tried to flick it around over use of handball, where it's just like, boys, surely you know the situation here. Get it on your boot, get yardage, and give our forwards an actual chance, and then get in our forward line, then lock it in like they had done for arguably two and a half quarters of that game.
Well, there was that one beach. You and I looked at each other. Callum Ward had the ball sort of in between in the defensive half of the centre square, and he went to go with his left boot. He went to go long, and then he checked his kick.
Oh, the short one.
And then he came this way, and he missed Lockie Ash, and then the Tigers came, and they just smelt that blood, and they just went after it, and that's it. Like exactly what you're saying. You get it in long, and it gives you a chance to actually put some defensive setup behind the ball as well, and hopefully get it in.
And that's what I'm talking about. You don't see that from the Tigers players across the board. They don't make those decisions in critical moments. They're like, everyone seems to be on the same page. Right, we're under the pump here. Let's just get it in.
Well, that's the thing. I think if that was GWS and they were overused it like that first time, Richmond, they would have went, oh, boys, stop stuff around the ball, get it forward. Yes. So then there's action involved, but I don't think those conversations then, I think, are had. But, it's funny how we highlight little things like that you don't want to say that, dictate the outcome of the game. But in such tight contests, unfortunately, little things like that do make a big difference. So you add all those little things up, it makes it, Jeez, I'm talking about Cal Ward, unfortunately, because he's a star and been an absolute
He wasn't the only
warrior.
one, though, who made some interesting decisions.
Yeah, no, right, but it's just a number of his, and then he was on the far side there where he tried to hit out Lockie Whitfield and Pickett intercept it. So we're highlighting, unfortunately, Cal, but there's just those little things that make a big difference in the end. It's a game of inches. Centimetres, arguably, at the end of the day.
Yeah, the numbers, just for what it's worth, GWS 373 disposals, Richmond 344, so plus 29 in the Giants' favour. The inside 50s plus 2 to Richmond, 46 to 44. The clearances, despite the depleted midfield for Richmond, they lost clearances by just 3 and centre bounce clearances by just 2. Dustin Martin kicks 4 in the win for Richmond, 2 for Collier Dawkins, including his first in AFL footy, 1 for Rewalt, Castagna, Rioli, Lynch and Dan Curvis. Jake Arts also had 2 for those of you keeping score at home. 4 for Jesse Hogan. They all came in the second quarter. And then 1 each for Hopper, Toby Green, Tom Green, Callum Ward, Kelly, O'Halloran, Hill and Lloyd. The Giants by 9 points at quarter time, 21 at the half. They led by 3 at three-quarter time. And despite leading at every change, Richmond kicked the last 3 of the game. They kicked 7 of the last 9 in the contest. Ended up winning by 4 points, hitting the front in the dying moments. Meanwhile, over in Adelaide, final couple of minutes there, and it's the Western Bulldogs who are going to record a huge victory over in Adelaide. It's a 15-6-96 over Port Adelaide, 12-4-76. Let's kick it down boundary side. Jess Webster on the back of the Tigers' 4-point win over GWS.
Yeah, I'm here with Liam Baker. Incredible win. It was just an amazing atmosphere under the roof here at Docklands. Where did you find the edge tonight to get over the line?
We were getting smashed in and around the ball in the first half, so Dimmer challenged us at half time to step up in the contested ball and stoppage wins, and I think that's where the game was won and lost in that second half. We managed to manage stoppage and then kick a few goals on turnover, but it was a great win and great for footy, that I reckon.
Your trademark pressure, I think, really came to the fore in the second half, and that wave that we've really come to know from the Richmond brand of footy obviously overran the Giants. I mean, what's the secret? How do you guys continue to be able to produce that kind of intense pressure?
Oh, well, Dimmer asked us to bring pressure for 4 quarters, and it's hard to stand up against that pressure for 4 quarters, but we don't always get it right. So it was a bit off in the first half, but it started to click in the second half, and as you said, that wave started to come, and our numbers turned up, and it worked for us.
Have to ask about the Dustin Martin goal, the one really late in the last quarter. Where were you in the field, and do you think it was a goal?
I was on the bench, but I'm calling it a goal every day of the week.
Of course you would. Thanks. Well, I'll head upstairs to the box now with our experts, Brett Delidio and Brendan Goddard.
Liam, Brendan Goddard, mate, well done tonight. Let's talk about you personally. I know you're probably trying to deflect to the team, but your transition into the midfield with the opportunity because of a few injuries.
Oh, yeah.
How are you finding it, really, is my question, because you did a great job tonight.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, Dimmer always says injury brings opportunity, and I was one of the lucky ones to have a go in the middle tonight, and Yeah, I don't know, I hope it worked. We'll see during the week. But it was exciting for myself. I was very excited to get in there, but also for the team. So we've got some different options going forward when our big fellas come back in.
Yeah, through like you said, disappointment through injuries, but young Collier Dawkins was in there and spent a fair bit of time in there, centre square bounce-wise too, in that first half in particular.
Yeah, his stoppage graph seems pretty good. He had a few centre clearances there and pushed forward for a couple of goals, I think. But it's exciting for us the way he played tonight, and even Mansell, Ralph Smith having his first go tonight, Nash back in. So, as I said before, it's very exciting for us.
Liam, Brett Lidio here, mate. Congrats on the win, and well done on your own game, mate. Love what you were doing in there. Huge clearance numbers from you tonight. But I just want to ask you about what Dimmer's messaging's been like. Obviously, probably not playing the footy you'd like, missing some key personnel. What's the messaging been like from him? Consistent right across the board, as you've probably had in the last 2 or 3 years, or has it changed a little bit?
No, it's pretty consistent. We knew we weren't up to scratch over the first part of the year, I guess. We've been good in patches, but he asked us to bring our strength, what we're good at, which is, as we said earlier, our pressure and our forward footy, which come out in the second half tonight, which got us over the line. But, yeah, it's always been the same. We just need to tighten up a few things, which we've been a bit slack on lately, but we're putting in the work during the week, which is good.
Yeah, Liam, I do have to ask just about the week, mate, the old elephant in the room. How was the build-up to the game? And there's obviously off-field incidents talked about, but also the team's form, sitting 4-4 coming into this week. So was there a real opportunity for you, or did you see it as an opportunity to really, you kind of stamp your authority on tonight and find a bit of form?
Yeah, this incident at the start of the week sort of got put to bed pretty early, so we were focused on the game. But, yeah, there was a bit of commentary about a fair few out, an inexperienced midfield, but it is what it is. Like, we're all put on a list for a reason, so some of us young boys can do the job too, but it was exciting to get that out of us tonight.
Liam, it's Corbin Middlemass here. So next up for the Tigers is obviously a trip to Brisbane, 6-day break, Lions at the Gabba. First time that you've played them, certainly, first time period, but at the venue since last year's qualifying final. What sort of challenge does that represent?
Oh, huge challenge always going up there. Obviously they knocked us off in that final last year, but yeah, we like going away. It'll be good to, don't think we've been away for about 4 weeks, so it'll be good to get around the boys up there. But obviously they had a slower start to the season like we have, but their best footy is coming out now, and it's exciting to have two of the better teams in the competition play off again.
I think you've got to head to a meeting, so appreciate your time, Liam.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Cheers.
Liam Baker from the Richmond Footy Club. Chief possession getter for the Tigers tonight with 33 disposals, 16 contested, 9 inside 50s and 8 clearances, 6 tackles on top of that, 7 score involvements, Lids.
Yeah, I love the score involvements, but I was actually going off the Brendan Goddard theory and just watching his stuff. He actually ignited him quite a bit in that second half. He spoke about it himself, Dimmer asked for a bit more contested footy and whatever else. But
yeah, he wasn't alone. Like, he was one of the guys, but again, lacking experience in there.
With his
pressure, intensity, and
early on, but I thought his second half was really, really good. His ability to win it for him, win it back. But he's not a bloke who's pretty short in stature. Like, he's not a big boy, but he actually throws his weight around. And just from all reports from the boys down there, that he's a good knockabout country boy from WA. Just as he signed off with U-Corps, yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you.
No, mate, cheers. But even his ball use, so we see it off half back, but. I think it's always a tougher transition than people think going from half back into the midfield. We talk about Zach Williams being one of the main culprits, but you have less time and you have more pressure around you, a lot more things going on. But I just thought tonight he was making really good decisions. You made mention, Lids, particularly in that last half, he was the guy that was actually those forward entries and getting the ball back inside 50s, giving his forwards a chance, a second, third, fourth chance. Of scoring opportunities, but on the back end of the pressure, but his ball use going inside 50.
So 4-point win for Richmond, running down GWS. They trailed by as many as 28 points time on in the third. They did trail by 15 points, by the way, midway through the last quarter. Richmond kicking the last 3 goals of the game to win by 4. Meanwhile, the Western Bulldogs have beaten Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. The Dogs 15-6-96, Port Adelaide 12-5-77. So a 19-point win for the Western Bulldogs. What's the biggest story? Dogs winning over in Adelaide, or the Tigers finding a way through tonight?
Oh, I like the Dogs story, to be honest, but this was 8th v 9th, but this is really seeing where about the Dogs sit versus a challenger against.
What about the Port Adelaide story of that's getting a bit of momentum here in Victoria? I think because we enjoy smashing the Adelaide teams, but just them being flat track bullies. They've come up against
West Coast,
Brisbane
Lions.
Yep, Brisbane.
Now the Western Bulldogs. So their three biggest challenges. They've dropped each of them.
So 0 on 3 of those. I think. Well, who's one of the teams they may have beaten in the?
They beat Richmond.
Richmond.
Yep.
There you go. So they're the only real scalp they've got.
Who aren't really flying.
Yeah, and even at the time they're actually going pretty good. I think they still went into that game missing a few injuries. So, so there would be a story around that. And I think they made a game of it. By the looks of it, Bulldogs started really well. Port got it back, but it looked like, in the end, Dogs were just too good.
I saw a stat that Charlie Dixon has only kicked one goal, and that was tonight against top 8 sides this year. So they've worked him out, the big boys.
Okay.
The other results today, Brisbane Lions by 73 over Gold Coast. So
don't rate that stat.
No, I like it. I just
got
me thinking, have they?
The Lions have now won 5 in a row, so they are humming after a 1-3 start. That Zach Bailey kick misses. They could have started 0 on 4. And now they're really turning it on Brisbane. So 5 in a row with hosting Richmond on Friday night. North Melbourne beat Hawthorn by 7 points. They came from 32 down, North Melbourne. So no winless teams in the competition. We still haven't had a side go winless in a season since Fitzroy back in 1964. And Sydney came from behind at quarter time to beat Collingwood by 5 goals. The Pies kicked, I think, 4 in the opening quarter. They only kicked 1 more for the remainder of the game. Sydney, here's a stat for you, Lids. I know you're happy with these top 8 ones. Sydney are 4-0 this year against top 8 teams from 2020.
Really? There you go. Your boys' tone.
Yeah, mate.
So the Swannies have beaten the Brisbane Lions, Richmond, Geelong, and now Collingwood. Top 8 teams from last year. So
yeah, Collingwood doesn't count.
Back in the winners list. The Swans, they're 6-3 to start the season. I don't know who writes this stuff. Sport has a funny way of just producing these sort of fairy tale endings. But given the week that it's been, who else was going to kick the winning goal?
Bounce of that ball.
It just straight from the gods into Dan Rioli's lap. He's been walking around all week, dodging cameras with a big black eye, and all of a sudden he comes out there and hasn't had a heap to do today. He only had 3 kicks up until that stage of the game. Sure enough, ball bounces his way.
Didn't even look like. Couldn't get a kick in a street fight tonight.
Whack. And in the end, he was the one that sealed the game, or put Richmond in front. Ended up winning by 4 points. So pretty thrilling finish with the goal to Dusty off the ground, colliding with the goal umpire, and Rioli kicking the winning snag in time on in the last quarter. Let's have a brief look ahead to tomorrow before we get out of here. Actually, before we do that, let's get the votes in the ABC.
Yeah, Beach needs 4 minutes.
Footballer of the year.
No, I'm short and sharp tonight.
Oh!
Okay, sorry.
The little wee man that spent some time in the midfield tonight we just spoke to, I thought Liam Baker was good. I'll give him 1 vote. 2 to the Dusty.
Yeah. Why?
Again, high expectations, but it just, he just bobs up at the right time.
Doesn't he?
And then you, again, I'm not a big stats man, but look at the stat sheet. He's had 28. It's like...
Early on, he was really
good. Yeah,
he got him going early.
Yep, and then it kind of faded a bit, but then just goes and he's standing next to the goalpost, just the whole 50 to himself, waiting for the ball to come down.
And while they're waiting for that arc to come through, the images of Dustin Martin doing the goal umpire's signal, if that's not used on a promo somewhere, then I'll go, hey, if you've got the best player in the game that's
Ralph
doing
Carter's
the goals,
told him,
that's
I've got an opportunity here. But Dusty too, and I think this is the best game I've seen him play. Lids' mate Hopper is
very good,
consistently across 4 quarters, used the ball really well, which I've been critical of him at times. But his clearance work, I don't even know his stats. Lids, can you reel off his stats?
Yeah. He's had 35, 20 of those contested, 11 clearances, 7 tackles, and kicked the goal. That was in the last quarter.
That's a pretty complete game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good game. So absolutely, probably deserving of 3 votes. Well done, Beach, without looking at the stats.
So 3 Hopper, 2 Dusty, 1 Baker, the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Tomorrow, it all starts...
it all starts nice and early, Cord. For you. You're making your debut somewhere, aren't you?
I want Offsiders.
Hey!
So you can catch that on ABC TV. You'll be sitting on the couch alongside me.
Climbing the ladder.
So looking forward to being on Offsiders tomorrow. You can catch
You'll be great, mate.
On ABC TV.
The road to ESPN.
Woj. We can't be so obvious about it, Corpse.
So that's tomorrow morning. But then on ABC Radio from 12 noon. Lids, you'll be with me.
Award-winning show.
Lauren Arnell, yes, future award-winning. Grandstand AFL Sunday. Full wrap of the weekend. We'll pull apart the Tigers and the Dogs' victories tonight, as well as all the key controversies of the week. I know you're keen to jump into a few of those.
Can't wait.
Following that, for some of the network, so I think Tasmania's with us tonight. If you're listening in Tassie, of course, you can catch any of these games through the AFL app, but the game that starts at 1 o'clock Australian Eastern Time is Fremantle and Essendon. Good luck to David Mundy and his boys in town to take on the Essendon Football Club tomorrow.
Oh, Barra.
Dons looking for their third win of the year. Following that, our broadcast game in Victoria is going to be Carlton and Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
The Melbourne Cricket Ground. Looking forward to that tomorrow. So we'll have all the
Melbourne
build-up.
Cricket Ground.
Is that where it is?
Yeah, it's just no one really refers to it as the Melbourne Cricket Ground, do they? It's always just the MCG.
Or the G.
So that's
Or
the
the
D's
G.
and the Blues. Who wins that, Deej? D's? 9 and zip?
Yeah, but again, vulnerable, closer to a loss than they ever have been.
You've been tipping against them every week for the last...
No, I just said they're always vulnerable. In the last 2 weeks, they have been.
Yep.
So, again, mind you, we've talked about Carlton for the last month, haven't we? So
Give me a tip.
We can't really say backs against the wall.
D's for me.
D's.
Wally.
D's just.
D's, Tone?
D's.
D's. And then the last game is West Coast and Adelaide. So the Eagles get a couple of key pillars back in defence with Barris and McGovern. Thanks to Jess Webster tonight. Thanks to Stu Birchmore celebrating a birthday. And he's
Happy
here.
birthday, Stu.
He's here
Thanks,
taking the
Stu.
game for us. I appreciate Stu Birchmore making it out. Thanks to Brendan Goddard, to Brett Delidio, to Tony Armstrong.
I'm so excited for you tomorrow, mate. You're going to be huge.
Offsiders on tomorrow morning.
You
I
think
said Jess Webster. I said Jess before I said Tone. Before I said Stu.
I'll give another shout out.
Everyone deserves a thank you, especially
She had a
Craig.
bit more to do tonight.
Especially
Jess.
Craig back in the studio.
And so do you,
Who
Paul.
always
Well
holds
done,
it
mate.
down. The Dogs winners by 19 points over Port Adelaide. And here it was Richmond in a thrilling finish. They kicked the last 3 goals of the game to run down the Giants. Join us tomorrow.